Howdy, y'all. It's oh goodness, is it this? That was not it. That was not it.
It was close.
There we go. I did not switch to the production keyboard, so that ain't happening again. How's it going? Yeah, we're doing a EX6 tier list because we've played so much of the format. Definitely having it came out what time of recording today? Today. And we're gonna tell you how the format. Yeah, we'll tell you how the format is going to go because we know everything. Marcio's actually open product. Tom, you haven't, and I have committed to buying a lot of product for a tournament that this will be out before we know for sure because Lamau. But like, check the pinned comment if you're in the UK. Come to our case tournament. And we're gonna tell you what decks are even gonna be good in it as well, which is fantastic. It's just the three of us. We don't have guests for tier lists because it's hectic enough with all of us. And I did not update that. Ignore that. Yeah, so we've got a hella bunch of decks here. And the Merry Christmas tier is for all the LM packs because if you don't know, the LM set is all delayed into this fun little gift set that they want us to buy in December, which just shoots some decks into the ground.
Okay, I don't have to like extensively talk about like.
No, if something's ass, we just call it ass.
Okay, like you're not gonna make me talk about Greymon this form and why I think Greymon is like maybe playable, right? Like,
I mean, you can if you want.
Yeah, you can just say where you think it goes, and then we can be like soy jack faces at it, and then we'll move on. That's how we make clickbait. You've been here before.
All right,
should we just start at the top? Agumon is going to Christmas. I'll see him later.
Yeah, to Christmas. Alphamon?
Alphamon...
I don't think Alphamon has a particularly dope time in this format. Like, he has a probably above average Demon Lords matchup because he's like a protected abomination that can just get through their shit. But like, realistically, yeah, I think it's better than Rogue on the virtue of like good baseline.
You have a better Dorumon technically, but then like it's better than the vanilla, and that's all you get.
Yeah, I would tell people to play Alphamon over playing current Dorugoromon, but not for much longer.
That's a discussion for another time. I think current Dorugoromon is like fine.
I think it was fine.
Do not put it in 1.5. It is not in 1.5.
That's not 1.5. I think current Dorugoromon gets worse in EX6 than it was in 16, but next set it will be very.
It has the taunt guy now. It has the black level 5.
Shout out to Raiju Ludo.
Raiju Ludo, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite wingman.
Everybody's got that card, Brix. You have the Davis play it.
Yeah, but anyway.
Like.
Sure.
I think
it's important to add a tier for like. I think it's important to add like. There's a distinction between a tier 2 deck and a 1.5 deck, and I think there's something in the middle, which is like a potential tier, which is like where I would put some decks that I think have potential. Because like a 1.5 deck to me is like.
You go on a good run, you see your good matchups, and you can win it.
Yes, like a 1.5 deck is like I can pop. Like,
why don't we call it
Imperial?
Yeah, we could call it competitive, highly competitive. Then would that make that better?
Cool.
No, because what I was trying to say is that I think there are decks that truly. I think tier 2, and like Rogue, I think is like fake.
I thought Rogue was better than tier 2.
No, I think Rogue is like
tier 2.
Like it's a surprise pick that no one should be on. Really.
All right, this is where we spend 10 minutes defining the tiers because we didn't do this in pre-live. Okay, so in my head, I think there's like obviously tier 1 is like defined, and tier 1 should be small. 1.5 is like gatekeepers. Tier 2 is like you have no chance, and then like Rogue is like. Oh fuck, dude! How do I describe Rogue in Digimon?
I feel like there's.
I think Rogue is if Andrew has put it down as wins locals, I think we could put it win
locals.
We could put it as at locals. So Rogue is at locals.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's at the locals. Yeah. You can do it in brackets. Like if you can add in brackets like 1.5, whatever.
Yeah, I think the top 3.
I think you did a good job with that. That's a good 5-row.
Yeah.
Okay. So wins locals, I wouldn't call it like I don't know, 1.75, but I would call at locals tier 2 and then wins locals better than tier 2, but not as good as 1.5.
Yeah, that's fair.
We can't be having multiple 1 point anythings, dude. I would rather we just do tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And like say 1 and 2 are good enough.
1 point content.
1 point content. I like that.
I hate that so much.
Okay, there we go. Now that the tiers are defined, we can proceed.
Okay.
Dark Masters Omnizu is
it is a gatekeeper deck.
I would put it
Dark Masters Omnimon is going to fold people. They have no idea what they're getting into.
But the thing is, like, nobody's playing it. Like, the deck loses to Nume too quickly.
It doesn't. It has a really favorable Numemon matchup.
How? You get Uka Rush.
So you now have enough like really degenerate like swarm and heal stuff now because you have Maste Ace. You can now just cheat out Maste Aces off his words. It's like there are an abundance of relevant purple and black play cost 7 monsters have now started to show up. You can include things like Raiju Ludos to put under the 5s, so like you can give a taunt and then force something to attack, and then end of turn pop and you protect yourself with the 5. There's a bunch of really stupid synergy stuff you can start interacting with. The deck is like much more than the testing suggested is. It has I would say there are a couple matchups that you do not particularly want to interact with.
Iron.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it has an out to Bugs, but the idea is that Bugs isn't there yet
as well because Magna does everything. So does everything. But you have a pretty consistent out to yellow vaccine. You have a lot of like really like the things you do to vaccine are generally weak points in its archetype, like taunting something that then is unable to get its protection fast enough. Like they can tech for it with Nyaromons, but nobody is doing that.
My thing is that like with OmniZoo, okay, like I'm fortunate enough to play test this deck with Derek, and he'd like walk me through like everything that the deck does. So in my head, all of its weaknesses are like very apparent to me.
Mm-hmm.
You also do play 2 decks that do well into that deck. Like you play Blue Armor if you're feeling evil, and you play Bugs when you're not, which are identifiably 2 good matchups for that. But
even then, I think it gets cooked by other stuff in the format. Like realistically, like not to like leak the sauce for anyone, but like the deck, if it goes first, its initial play is always 6 memory. So you're passing Nume 6 memory.
No, they frequently analog youth as well. They can super chill low pass.
They can, but that's not like their standard lineup. If they're using analog, then they're not contesting board at all, and then that means that they have to spend the next turn doing.
Yeah, they should spend the 6 against Numemon because it's a net positive. Because if they clear your 5, you win the game.
But it's not like Davis where like you're spending 7 to threaten an ace. You're spending 6 to delete itself and put a Dark Masters in the raise.
No, you are also threatening an ace. It's end of opponent's turn. The 5 dies. That's why it's so good. Is because the Dark Masters but die at the end of the turn, right?
Yes.
Regardless, it's still like you get a guaranteed 6, which is essentially a guaranteed on.
Okay, we're wasting a lot of time on like this deck.
It's gonna move down in Gatekeepers later.
I'm cool with it being like a Gatekeeper deck. I don't see anyone playing it and convert.
But it is. I think it will convert better than it's like low tier heroes will bring it higher than an Alphamon low tier.
It's also like you also have to account for like the price of the deck because you need like Zwart. It's
like I think there's like 16 secret rares in it now. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, the people that are playing it wanted to play it. They knew what they were saving for.
Exactly, and it's an expensive deck.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that are playing it already have the cards, but even then, like, it's a deck that has a very small population.
I think that's why it's Gatekeeper rather than wins locals, because it's not showing up at your locals unless you have a Dark Master.
Sure, okay, yeah. I'm cool with that. What's this?
Is Amphi at
locals? That's Amphimon?
At locals.
Yeah, I think it's better than Pack Filler, but not much. Where does Dogloop go?
Dogloop, in the words of our good friend and tier list movie creator, Flying Zero's opinion, X2 deck. That's being super generous. This deck is an X3, and one of them is a buy deck.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a pack.
For the Apocally, are we doing like Balfi Pockley?
I think we have to now. It's Balf. I mean, it's Andrew's fault that people talk about it again.
Right. So Balfi Pockley is like wins locals.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I was gonna beef with wins locals, but I forgot you called it tier 1 point content. So you're right.
Yeah.
it will win a local. Sometimes a big local with
Magna's like
alternative
obvious
pricing.
tier 1.
Yeah, Magna is blue base, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
it's
blue
'cause
base.
So
Rapid
I
would be-
think if that's our first like potential bediff. I don't think it's the like
I don't
single
think it's
pick I'd
bediff.
go for, but I think it's a like top 5.
I don't think it's the best deck in the format, but it is one of the tier 1 decks.
Yeah, do that.
Gatekeeper.
Hunters, no.
No. Hunters has a bad time this format.
Is it
Hunters
finally dead?
somehow it managed to like squeak its way through 15. It
Yeah.
could not exist in 16. It just gets fucking vibe checked by too much.
Demon Lords is a bad time for Hunters. They have a lot of the Blast DNA decks just absolutely take Hunters out back and kill it. I don't know. Imperial folds this deck in half. I just don't think. I think Hunters is it is probably the bottom of at locals. I legit believe Veemon probably has legs over Hunters.
It's finally.
People can prove me wrong all they want, but like this deck, like 15 was it was like a miracle that this deck got to exist in 15.
The thing with Hunters is Digicross decks also suffer for the play cost reduction stuff, and this is a set that everyone anticipates Demon Lords to be very good in. So it's just it's unfortunate to interact with aces badly and unfortunate to get metagamed.
Well,
it's not Hunter's time.
Christmas came early and it's summertime because Bagheera is going in. Merry Christmas. I won't even let.
Okay, wait. I think Bagheera is at locals tier. I don't think it's pack filler. I think Bagheera has a couple weird interactions where enough random security can get burned here and there that they can do it.
Nobody's playing it.
Yeah, but we put Gatekeeper on DM Omni in there. This is a bad DM Omni, so it gets to go 2 tiers down.
You're not gonna play it. You're gonna play Ragna.
Yeah, but I don't have all the pieces yet. And until the case tournament happens and people pity give me cards, I'm fucked. So I might be. Also, I just want to tax a Demon Lord player. They're gonna be like, haha, slam your shit. I'm like, haha, bye.
Yeah, that is pretty peak.
Anyway.
Yeah, it will be at locals. I don't think it'll win.
Barbamon?
That's Barba hand control. I want to. So for transparency's sake, for the viewing audience here, I believe Devimon stuff is not separately recorded on this tier list. I looked for one that did have it. I don't think it's particularly relevant. So Barbamon is kind of just being used as an umbrella for all of the Dan Devimon hand loop stuff and Barbamon tribal, the Boogeyman stuff. This deck is not there yet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even.
I think it's likely pack filler. My personal opinion, yeah.
If we get
I play a lot of hand control decks. I'm a big Ravemon enjoyer, and I'm going to tell you straight up. The thing Barbamon does, it is a tiny bit more aggressive than Ravemon with virtually none of the burst DNA crazy payoff turn. So you basically get a Barbamon and you hope Scapegoat keeps it around for a little while and you make enough little guys to recur. And that's how you play the game.
The other thing is it takes random purple, the Keenan stuff in Ravemon's obviously very annoying.
Sure.
They're using the Siako low end that Levia has also been pinching. And also, even Octomon, Fujitsu stuff, the whole payoff of this deck is to soul read your opponent and they just be like, no, actually, I will pitch a card from my hand. You cannot have your memory. And then you drop the option that blows up a level 7 and for every card in hand, it goes down. And you just get to watch your stack die because you were like, no, I will go minus. Nothing bad will happen to me. And then you win game 2 and 3. But they get that one game where they go, should have given me the memory.
I will give Barbamon one other thing, which is that it is an above-average abuser of Zwart D, because the 5s are very powerful in the Barbamon hand control package. And Omnimon Zwart is a pretty, you get your value out of Barbamon, and then you produce another 5 or something, and then Zwart spits out more 5s. It's, not a payoff that's worth it yet, but it is something to consider going forward if you're buying cards.
I learned something, which is that EX6 boxes... I don't usually shill, but I think that EX6 boxes are actually worth buying as a box because the price, your local stores, it shouldn't be too much. But the amount of hits that you get in the box is actually kind of crazy. You get 6 super rares and you get 4 hits, which is better than the usual 2 hits, 8 supers, 7 or no, is it 7?
Yeah,
supers?
7 super rares. I thought
7 supers, 2 hits. So you get not only an extra hit, you get 2 extra hits for virtually no downsize. However, you'll probably if you buy boxes in bulk or a case or whatever, or not even a case, if you go on a half case or for example, we bought 4 boxes, we're still missing a playsets of a few of the super rares, And Barbamon is the super that I'm the most upset that I pull because it's not a good Demon Lord for me to trade with someone. It's not a Domini, it's not a Shankpeng, it's not a Ragnar, it's not a Mastay, it's not... It's like, I pulled it,
so
and
they're
I
going
was
spare?
disgusted. Yeah, the Barbamons are all yours, bud.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
All
it's
yours.
literally you and Bonsai are the only people I know that would need...
I tried like a Ravemon list with it earlier. It's pretty funny.
If the unification of the game happens and we play best of one, then you know what? Whatever, bro. I will cope it into like
There is
tier
no
1.5.
there is no scenario where I would ever take this deck as the hand control deck in a best of one over Ravemon. If I burst mode somebody on turn 3 in Ravemon, I shake their hand.
Anyway,
Barbamon's mid.
Are
Don't
you
take
shaking the
what's
hands of
this?
a 3 Musk player, though?
No,
that deck is
that
garbage.
deck is garbage.
pack filler, get rid of it. This is bad.
Yeah,
Don't
it
need
is.
to elaborate.
I hate that deck.
Did they
It's
need
terrible. It's
anything
fake
from
and it's bad.
LM?
No, it's
No, they get nothing from LM, and they wait for BT17's next wave of... Sorry, EX7's next follow-up, and then eventually they'll get a good Demon Lord pile.
yeah. We don't need.
Muskets is not real. Yeah, move on.
Beals.
Beels is... Beels, I think, is a
wins
super consistent wins locals pick,
Wins
and
locals.
high key could get to Gatekeeper. I think we're going to have conversations about if this deck goes up to tier 1.5.
So the main thing is that the new Beals is like good.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredibly efficient. It's better. Okay. Better is sort of like... I don't think it's strictly better than the EX2 Beals because it doesn't do what the same function as EX2 Beals. Like, EX2 Beals is very good right now just because of Nume being in a format, letting you, like, pop like consistently, like lots of bodies and stuff just from the when digivolving when attacking, so you get to pop 2 things, which is very, very, very good. Very, very good.
Also, still has the utility of like having an on mill.
Yes, an on mill. However, as a play target, this Beals is insane. Inherent Rush and the Digivolve.
Yeah.
Like, one, your machine match... When I say machine, like, you know, things that would have protection or whatever. Things that would typically wall Beals no longer get walled because now you can, like, fucking, like, get rid of anything. The Digivolve plus...
The Digivolve is so crazy with purple because purple is all about like the level hate.
Yes.
And like now that you can shrink the levels of these 7s back down to things that you can pop with a Death Slinger, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, like Slinger, not only that, but like Cluster as well, like being able to Digivolve something and then cluster it is
it's so good.
so good.
This card in the Japanese like in best of one format, like la da da. This card sort of singularly brought back. Part of me always thought that it was because people wanted to use their alt arts, but the BT10 Balmon that is just a lingering float people brought this card to play with that.
Yeah.
So like,
also, it's really good interruption on the opponent's turn, which is something that Beals never had.
Yeah.
Like sorry, you did have on play mill with the BT10 Beals, which is arguably like pretty good, but the Digivolve and then mill 4 is so good. And again, keyword rush. It makes the X antibody builds just more viable, the builds that actually run the X antibody card, because you just go swing rush, X anti evo, go for game. Like, this card makes Beals like back.
Beals, this Beals also is like in a format full of like really frustrating counter timing blast DNAs that Beelzemon still doesn't have a ton of great outs to. Digivolving Aces is a like great out that purple has not always had great removal choices for. So super good card. Really bumps Beelzemon back into a format. Like I think Beelzemon also, like, funny enough, decent to pretty good Demon Lords matchup. So like there are parts of that where it's like Beelzemon can kind of just get a leg up over the deck that you'd otherwise play this card in.
We're talking about Demon Lords a lot, and I'm going to be the one that's going to like... I already know when we get to the Demon Lord discussion what's going to happen.
It's just so centralizing. It's just like we can't not talk about it.
We'll get there. Anyway.
It's like when Royal Knights came out in 13. You're like, everything had to have a talk about Royal Knights.
Belphemon...
It's at low. No, it's not at locals.
Okay. Assuming that it's Alfie Pockley.
Well, it's not, because
it's not. We've already ranked that.
I think it might be at locals because it gets a new Belphemon. So every single Demon Lord player is going to be trying their favorite Demon Lord with the new card and finding out that it is designed.
The deck also gets the Boogeyman that is technically Barbamon support, which can help additionally curve forward for the Demon Lords. So like this can find the sleep mode and rage mode, and it still keeps your hand small.
8 Uko Belphemon is fine.
Yeah.
like it's a decent locals deck. Like there might be the odd guy that like plays it. It technically has an okay new mid matchup, assuming you don't get turn skipped. Like the deck functions, you can play it at locals and it works and it's fine. Like the deck.
Don't come crying to us when you go X2.
Yes.
Black War Greymon.
It's not as good now as it was in 16, but it's still all right. I would not personally put it at wins locals. It has a couple matchups in EX6 that it's very favored into, but the just existence of 3-grade Angels just feels unplayable for it, and I guarantee you'll see one of those because it's a very pushed archetype. I think it's pretty good in where it is right there.
It's like on paper you have like a decent Magna matchup, your Numa matchup can be okay, but then like you just lose to a bunch of other shit.
There's a lot of value in Tamer Hate right now, but it's not not on a your deck is slow and you lose to Virus Hate. So
no matter how many trainings and boosts you add to Greymon, like Greymon suffers from its like core issues, no good. Blooms, it's at locals at best. I wouldn't say it even wins locals just because there's so much like anti-blue, like inherent like ways to deal with Bloom in the current format. Like anyone wanting to play Levia, that always sucks. Your Numa matchup sucks.
There are now two decks.
Your
two
Imperial
unique.
Matchup,
Go ahead.
Your Imperial matchup like Ultra sucks. That deck is at locals, and you might consistently go X1, and you'll be losing to the winner of locals.
Yeah, like Marcy said, the Imperial matchup sucks. I think it's telling that like in a format where there are now twice as many free summon hate decks, there's also now another archetype that plays Biting Crush. So it's just like, why chance it with your Leviamon guys when they might also be Demon Lord players there? So
Blue Flare goes in the bin. That deck is trash.
But it will sack somebody.
I don't give it. That deck is trash. It loses to like any ace. That deck cannot deal with ace threats.
Since we last recorded a tier list, I have been visiting North America, and I want to say hello. We have a lot of KnTElixar podcast and Misplay for Game adjacent fans over across the Midwest. Hello.
Yeah, that's the 3K, and then the Discord will happen, I promise.
And I had a lot of conversations with people about like what's up, because they just love Blue Flare, and it tops in NA. And they're like, if you're going to play a deck that you have to find your unsearchables, they may as well be unsearchables that randomly win you a game. And I'm sympathetic to that. I don't necessarily think it's the right pick for most of the format. But I will give him this. If you are going to play a deck that is like just frustrating and like material save and save are good enough effects to deal with deletion metas, this is the format to play around deletion metas, because Numemon is still good and you can still hurt Numemon, but you just don't care about anything Demon Lords does. You don't care about Leviamon. You just like, there are some matchups where you're just like, who gives?
It's like, okay, you have a good like Mega Zoo matchup. I will give that to Blue Flare, and like it will randomly donkey roll people. The problem with Blue Flare is like the more text you add into Blue Flare, the less consistent your deck becomes, and it's now to the point where it's another like 8 Uko deck, and it really just realistically, how are you playing into like a deck that just like either Etemon Valks you, or a deck that is like randomly unaffected? Like Imperial doesn't really give a shit because like they just ace you anyway. Like they don't have to go into dragon mode. They just like fighter mode ace you.
They also suspend your Kyria Hanene, so like you're not necro.
Exactly.
At all.
It's like it loses to too much for me to take like Blue Flare seriously. Like, wow, you might have like a good Phoenixmon matchup, but Phoenixmon is like a, you know, it's like a capsule in time type deck. It's like, you know, enough things worked out for Phoenixmon to succeed, but there's also a few things that are like stopping it from being as good as it could be. And like you have some decent matchups into like the fringe decks that are abusing like the weak points of decks like Yellow Vac or Armour or whatever, like decks that tend to create traps for them. Say for example like a GraceNova. I don't know what that matchup is like, but you know,
it's fine. I would say it's favorable for GraceNovamon.
Okay, maybe GraceNova was a bad example. I don't know. D-Brigade. You might have a good D-Brigade matchup. Like sick.
The other thing I think is interesting in this format is like Marcy said,
why are we talking about Blue Flare? This
is another 8 Ukomon pile, and in a format that is designed to start hurting 8 Ukomon decks, because this is where like Numemon conceptually starts to fall off. Emperor will get punishing for Blue Flare, and despite on paper looking like it should have a good 3-grade Angels matchup, because they do have it sort of go wide with the Midimon expansion, it can get bad to swing at a deck with that many aces. So I think Blue Flare probably is better than pack filler. I just don't think in any serious we can't put Blue Flare worse than Arresterdramon. That's just crazy. It's better than Hunters. I would personally think Blue Flare should probably. I think it should probably be next to Black-White Greymon.
Okay, that's fine.
Above Alpha,
Cool.
yeah, that's fair.
Sure. It's a deck that's locals. Chaosdramon. That's the new art.
It's not real until the Angels until it gets wasted. Not just lose to Angemon Secret Rare. This deck can't. It just can't hang when Angels get pushed. It's probably good enough to survive some like repeated pops, but like Leviamon still exists and the ruling update hasn't come to the West. I think it's an at-locals deck because there's always a machine.
I wouldn't even say that. Like, it just loses to a lot of, like, the popular decks that you would see at locals. Like, Imperial
cooks this deck.
Just, like, it just fucking makes, like, a pancake out of your...
Yeah, it doesn't have a single tamer whose play cost is 3 or lower anymore.
Goes, how many sources? That's crazy, bro. Anyway, Daiken. And then the game's over.
Yeah, it's not good for Imperial. Or, sorry, it's not good for Machine. I think it's probably worse. Yeah, you'll see it, but that's it.
No, pack filler.
Yeah, you're right.
It's pack filler. Just
it's better than Barbamon, boys.
Pack filler's pack filler.
Okay, UltimateChaosmon. Let's get real. This is the version of Omnimon Zoo that I think will top first. UltimateChaosmon is crazy, but it is sacky as hell.
It's a good card. I just don't think a deck. It's a tool more than it is a deck in my head.
It is I think we should consider it a separate version of just regular OmniZoo. Yeah. There was a chance, fellas, that Alter B is actually supposed to be like the DNA ping pong. Yeah, and that we're gonna get some like really weird comments in this video about like what the heck are they talking about?
Well, that's because they didn't listen to it all the way and they skipped to the end, so get shafted.
But I think UltimateChaosmon deserves a placement.
To prove that you didn't skip to the end, give us a
ping pong emoji.
Eyes emoji, dude, like the eyes, lip, eyes.
Yeah, eyes, lip, eye. Yeah, that's how we know. Yeah, so drop that with whatever comment you were gonna leave anyway, and that's how we know you're a real one.
Yeah, the deck's good. I think you kind of actually put it where I want you to put it, so I'm cool with that.
But like, we already have like the variants of the deck that we think are good. Yeah. If anything, it's a variant of a deck that we already placed higher.
UltimateChaosmon is my preferred build of like Dark Master's Control. That's the version I would personally rather be on, but I'm cool.
I wouldn't
tier it, really?
No, I would just highlight that it is a variant of...
Okay, can I suggest that we put Apocalymon in the same place as we put this then? Because Apocalymon doesn't exist on its own anymore.
Sure, whatever. Just get rid of
Andrew, can you make a 7th tier and call it Coat Pile?
Just get rid of the UltimateChaosmon. It'll just add confusion.
We call it like Coat Check.
Coat Check? Yeah.
Sorry, Coat Check.
Coat Check?
Yeah.
As in,
there you go. Yeah, where you check a jacket when you go to somewhere.
Yeah, you're right.
All right.
Like they weren't invited to the function.
All right.
Moving on. Okay.
Alliance.
Can I talk about Alliance?
Yeah, we're gonna get flamed because Andrew's already moving it pretty high.
Okay, so I think Alliance has wins locals potential. Doesn't mean that it's going to. The problem is that Alliance is a deck that, how do I say this?
Requires a lot of skill.
To an extent, yes. Like the deck is is it the most linear deck?
No.
I would argue there's like some
there are Demon Lords in this format, dude. It is not the most linear deck.
I would say that it's like it has a ceiling, but as a green deck, it definitely wins. Not the bike in the. I'm getting fucking censored.
I love it.
I would say that I would put this at like bottom of potentially wins locals. Like I think that it's definitely like a 1-point content deck on the principle that like the people that want to push Alliance now, I happen to have 2 idiots that, you know, one that is my girlfriend and one that is Tommy Tricks that will make this deck look a lot better.
Yeah.
Idiots was maybe a mean word, but they will basically they're fiends, right? They're like, oh my god, dude, I love like Lopmon, and I love, you know, Emily's thing with I don't know what she likes about Truby, maybe because it looks like a clown.
I have only bought a couple EX6 cards so far. I didn't get a box, didn't get anything. But the product I have purchased for EX6 is 4 copies of Assembly and everything under SR Rare for Alliance. That should tell you what we think of Alliance. Okay. It is very real.
We are biased, but essentially the point I'm trying to make is that I playtest with people that will make this deck look better than it actually is.
Yeah.
However,
Our
those
locals,
people-
this is top
Yes.
of wins locals. Your locals, it's top of at locals.
it's at locals, yeah. So again, basically, the deck is decent. The good players will be able to push it, but there's not enough people that have eyes on the deck to, make it good. Also, this is now, it's like, what, third wave of support?
No, it's the starter deck as well. So I got EX4.
EX4 starter deck this.
Do we count
Is it
EX2 as
Yeah.
like, that wasn't Alliance?
No,
Oh,
none of those cards count because they don't see
I'm
anything.
talking about like Alliance, like Lotmons. Technically,
You're right. Yeah,
BT16.
this is
Sorry,
the
BT16 is a big one.
yes. You get True
So-
VX and stuff too.
And it's getting more stuff in 17. Very small, but now it's like,
Willis is not a small card.
look, we again, our locals, this deck is cracked. Every other locals, this deck is fine.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. But the deck, like, the game
One
plan is
day-
good. The deck
one
is
day
very
they'll
good.
ban-
Like, just to actually like talk about the deck, like, you have a good matchup into Magna because you have DP minus until end of turn.
Mhm.
You have ace plays. You have source generation. You are a green deck that does not rely on your opponent, which is big. The only issue is that you do need a little bit of super glue to kind of like make things tick. Like your Tamer acceleration comes from sources that are not exactly like direct support. Yes, you have Terrier, but you're still like a Lotmon base. You have varied forms of removal between suspending, punching, piercing, and DP minusing. And you have like a ton of value, but it's similar to Bloom where there's a few things that will like keep you checked, like Leviamon style decks or like decks that focus very heavily on like control in the sense of like clearing bodies, right? Like sort of like the Galamons of the world and like the what's like another deck that just like clears things for free, like
Newmanmon, like kind of just does it passively.
Sakuya.
Sakuya, like lots of DP minus,
Alt
like
first as well. Alt first bounces your stuff.
yeah, those kinds of decks that are like heavy built on their like removal, then yes, they'll make this deck look a lot worse. But the deck is like 1.5.
All right. What are we thinking for
D-Brigade is funny. D-Brigade is nominally better because the kinds of decks that it beats get better in EX6, but I still don't think it just feels like they didn't like it D-Brigade is so funny. Yeah, D-Brigade is like
You convinced me, by the way. I dismissed the deck and I played against it. And
it's
I was
way
like,
better than
oh.
people think it is. It's way better, but the problem is it was outdated when it dropped. In BT14, if you told me that your deck's win con was on one turn, I build a board full of tokens basically, and on the next turn I hit you with them, I'd be like, that's your win con in 14? And they just kept giving it that. Like, that's the lever they refused to move on D-Brigade. It has gotten new tools. Cargo-Dramon obviously is an all-time star. The Seals-Dramon is a crazy card. Yeah, Cargo from 14.
Oh,
Cargo
sure,
from 14
okay.
is like an all-star card.
No,
it is incredible.
I think the best card, the best stuff that the deck got was the Tankdramon.
Yeah,
Tankdramon is amazing. Seals-Dramon is amazing. I think those cards are nuts.
The deck like finally got a form of interaction. Granted, it is relying on you like
Gotcha.
triggering and like gatching and like playing things out. But the fact that you have the Digivolve on opponent's turn while you also have opponent's turn blocker, and you beat Magna X by just having more guys out.
Yeah.
The problem is that like you can only really target a few things and you lose to like other things like DP minus decks like really fuck with you, like Rapid X just kind of like board wipe you.
You also have an awful Imperial matchup. You end of turn Brigade and then Dragon Mode goes a word and then you get Nidhogged. It's not good. It's bad. But I think outside of that, it is unique as well because it's one of the few like kind of protected black blocker piles that doesn't auto lose to Angels because you can just like I won't leave the battle area, sack people off.
Also, you have like a very efficient removal for Tyrant, so like
yeah, that's true too.
So yeah, I would say like I would put it at top of locals. It has potential, but again, a lot of Digimon decks, it's if a top player doesn't perceive it as strong, top players tend to gravitate towards the things that are sort of like easier to pick up and play.
Yeah, their consistency is notable.
Consistency, like they don't tend to go for like super, unless it's like a player that like really believes in a deck. Like I can say that I don't consider myself a top player. I'm a player that, you know, if I believe in a deck,
You are a
You have
player that has
tops.
topped.
Okay, yes, I have tops plural, but I'm still not like a top player.
Yeah, you're not a Dan Vang, but you know what we mean.
So, sure,
Yeah.
but it's basically like, unless, for example, if I go, oh, I think this deck is crazy, I will put the time in and grind it and like make it crazy. But most people just play perceived meta. Like, why play D-Brigade when you can just play Nume? And, like,
one more thing before we move on from D-Brigade, because I've been this deck's champion for a while. Don't play DigiPlease. The DigiPlease piles are garbage. There's nothing in DigiPlease that I think there's nothing in DigiPlease that I sincerely believe is better than just making a good D-Brigade pile. Like, what? I don't think that like Oriyumon, like, surprise I got you evolving is stronger than Darkdramon play for 3 rush. I genuinely believe this.
Takumi for 2. You said
Takumi for 2 is cool. The Takumi for 2 is cool. It's the only sauce in the whole list.
No, but like okay. Ceiling versus floor, right? Like,
yep.
The floor for
we were just talking about how consistency and like expected performance is good, and the DigiPolice piles just do not have expected performance. They have no damage. They don't hurt people.
No, they do. Are you crazy?
No, they're so much worse than an actual D-Brigade list.
You legit have OTK lines.
Yeah. When the moons align and your opponent can't read your cards.
What do you mean? You literally have Oriyumon with Hasari that unsuspend. You have Alliance, which is important because
it's really great because you have a board because you didn't end on Darkdramon. Oh, sorry, your Brigadramon. So you have a...
But like it's like you're half green. You're better into boards because like you
but
can.
Where's your board coming from?
You just make it off of like Oryu, and like you have Oryu, you have Haikabandramon. You like the deck is like it's not an immediate. It's not like a tempo deck. It's like a mid-range deck. Like you snowball.
Yeah.
And the main thing is that you have better interaction. Like you have bot decking, you have suspending.
You have multiple axis of interaction. Is what made Bloom good. Is because you can fight over things, you can de-deal things,
you can still play Brigade. Like that, there's no reason for you not to be able to play Brigade.
Yep.
But you also have the ability to evolve on the opponent's turn, and you now have ways to recycle your pieces because you have the rush guy, like I think they're about the same in terms of like power. It's like D-Brigade is easier to sort of like play. I think
it loses to variance less than the DigiPolice one as well. That is my opinion. I think D-Brigade is a lot more consistent, and over a long day you'd get more value out of D-Brigade.
And also it's like your lines are less complicated. Like
you just go wide, kill guy.
Yeah, like you will probably fuck up more on DigiPolice than you will on D-Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think one is like strictly better than the other. It just comes down to player pref.
Sure. I'll give you that.
We wasted 10 minutes on decks that don't matter.
I skipped Mother D because
Dark Knight's bad. Don't play it right now. Just like how Blue Flare is also getting countered by people playing play cost reduction, Dark Knightmon is there, but it also has like less flexibility than even Blue Flare does.
Real quick,
it is another hypothetical Ukomon deck, but like
I will say
Tamer Hate's good though. Tamer Hate's good.
I will say that Dark Knight has Tamer Deletion and gets to use Vike Ace, which is like
that guy's crazy.
Like a non-zero like thing. Like a lot of the times you're passing on like Digicross Dark Knight anyway. So why not convert it into Vike?
You can also like Digicross into Dark Knightmon and then use the Teoludo or Teolude.
Yeah, to taunt things.
To taunt things too. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Raijuludo, excuse me.
What else do you have? You have a decent Nume matchup because you can start clearing aggressively.
Yeah, you really don't mind about getting shrunk.
And you are de-evolving, so like you can theoretically de-evolve a Bonze or something down.
You do just still kind of get smoked by aces though.
I think it's definitely at locals. But it's also like who's realistically playing Dark Knight. I just think it's a deck that like while it has potential, the population is not there.
It also still struggles with the same problems it did before, where it's like it's slow to kill you sometimes. But now there's like aces and DNA, blast DNA, and like the game is just kind of catched up to it.
Yeah. Is this Mill?
I think it's supposed to be Creepy Mill. It's not real. I don't think Millith is like separately on here either.
Well,
so
Lilith is on there as a Demon Lord by herself.
Yeah,
so I'm assuming
BT. Yeah, that's probably why they use a different art. I'm gonna go out on a limb and just give you the kind of TLDR from Mill here. Mill is not inherently unviable in this format, But in a format where it is so important that you use trainings, you better hope to God you outpace the Imperialdramon player. It's just kind of not really the format. Like it has a probably I could see it topping, like sincerely, but I do not think like the minute somebody expects it to be relevant, it will immediately shrink back away. So it's a meta call that you make for a tournament, not for a format.
This is going to be one of the main ones that people are here for. What do we think of Diaboromon and EX6?
I think it's a tier 1 point content. Yeah.
1 point content wins locals. I think the shell is good enough for. It's fun. There's appeal. There's population. Like people want to play this deck.
Yeah. If people have not yet had a chance to experience what Diaboromon Ace was doing back in September, they're gonna learn here.
Yeah, they're gonna learn here.
There are some very powerful cards.
Also,
in the Diaboromon
Armageddon
show.
is like not terrible. Like stopping level 7s is like good into like Mirage.
Meets Mirage, just outright.
Yeah, like you have a good like Mirage matchup. You have toolbox aspects. Like you have quartz available to you.
Also stops Demon Lords from doing their on Digivolve into Ogudo.
Yeah.
So you can kind of just like sit there and go lol Demon Lords.
It's like on paper, Diaboromon is positioned well enough that like the people that want to play it have the tools to play. It's more about like, well, what the problem is that the deck ceiling isn't like the highest. Like your power budget is, can I make tokens? Are my tokens enough for me to win the game? I have some tricks up my sleeve, but like most decks that rely on they rely on the opponent not knowing what you're up to.
Yeah, and in a format where Valcase plus Edamon is still strong, you just can sometimes lose your whole board on a turn.
Yes,
and like,
that is very bad.
Getting set back by Diaboromon standards is rough. So
yes, you're playing like
it will get there. Diaboromon will get there. I just think we're still like maybe one set a little early.
Right.
Hold on to your cards if you pulled them.
I skipped the Arbit.
That's Digimonmon. I think Angels is a gatekeeper deck.
You think it's like?
I think Angels is really interesting. This is the first yellow vaccine pile I think that will not appeal to the average yellow vaccine player.
No, I think it's the opposite. Where like the Angel role player guys, they want to play it. The people that like want to,
the Angel role player guys want to click recovery +1 on DCGO. They don't actually want to generate a body with barrier that spreads a board and swings for damage.
Yeah, you gotta remember, Marcia, we have like the cool yellow players in our local, so we like inherently have the wrong idea of this deck.
Okay. The best
Digimon's also cool because it's like there's some like real strong power flex pieces in this archetype that like people like
it has toolbox.
Yeah, it has a great toolbox. Zero from the Wong Zero channel put a cool deck profile. It's a different build than I think a lot of people are expecting.
That's what I was gonna say. The best way to think about it is this is modern Lord Knight.
Yeah, it's an Angel's toolbox. It's a yellow good stuff toolbox like Lord Knight used to be.
But you are carried by the fact that you get to play the best yellow engine. You get to play Pada, TK, Emissary.
And Andromon Ace, which is just normal.
And those cards, if this is like Marvel, big Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is freed. We're so back. Anyway, essentially, Pada, TK, Emissary, Andromon Ace is like the MSP of Digimon right now. It's literally Magneto Sentinel's Psylocke. No, it's Magneto Storm Psylocke.
Yeah.
Yes. It's literally like that shell is good enough to carry anything into like at least like 1 point, content or whatever. Like that card is good enough for you to win a locals.
Yeah.
In a shell that can actually like fucking like push your opponent's shit in.
Yeah, and it's so consistent. Like, if you were gonna use that shell for anything, the Angels pile has like the Ascent of the Great Angels is a crazy. Sorry, is it Descent or Ascent? Which one is it? It's Descent of the Great Angels is a crazy card for some people to mess around with, and permutations of that deck will exist using Descent. There are also going to be versions of the deck where it's like, if you have not experienced what Final Excalibur does, you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn. Yeah. It is objectively cringe. I'm not gonna hold you. The numbers were already in. Setcon will mess around with the card. We know this from Japan. We know that it is another recovery +1 and then add to hand. What it does, it saw play. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for the people at home. It did see some use, but the thing you do get to do is this is a true blue toolbox deck. Like the Lord Knight comparison is great. It's almost like I saw somebody. This is so funny. I saw somebody describe this as like where red is like a garbage Dorbic toolbox pile. This is yellow's Dorbic-mon, where it's like what like random yellow good stuff can I squeeze in here so that my
yellow Dorbic.
Yeah, well, Shakamon will get there because it's a Digicross deck. But I think Diminimon being like this is like interesting yellow aggressive tools to help facilitate my like I built the board, you're dead turn is like neat, but like it's. Angels is real. It's just not like the tier 0 best. Like Yellow Vaccine has another guy they can call up when they need a thing, and he's probably a little stronger than the Angels. Magna X choice restricted soon, I think.
Funny that you said Dorbic because what did we call it? What was red? Was red just Ragnar?
Red is just there are 6 red cards in this entire expansion.
They're all Ragnar pieces, right?
Yeah, sorry, there's a Fani Ace as well, I forgot. So there's the Sakudomon Egg, then there's the 3, 4, 5, 6 for the RagnaLord engine, Barbamon for the RagnaLord engine.
This shit is
and then
pack filler.
Eyes on that for a second. What are we talking about?
Dorbic.
Oh, Dorbic. Sure.
I didn't
you're not showing up the tier list, by the way, if you're seeding Dorbic.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Listen, Dorbic-mon, a Canadian TO that I know who posts comment interaction videos has famously said that decks like Dorbic will exist because like sometimes it's good enough to just go 3 checks ADP. You got it.
Yeah.
Just like
Uko Dorbic is like.
Yeah, it's more real than people think. But like, Digicross hate is good right now, so I wouldn't personally pick a Dorbic.
No,
if you were gonna do a cheesy check a million security deck, I'd do Ancient Greymon on this format.
Yeah. Also,
save yourself the struggle.
Our Dorbic player is playing this, so like it's not at locals. If he's not on it, nobody's on it.
That's true.
Gora, a lot of people are on that.
Wins locals. I can tell you from
fine. I think the players that have the reps will win locals.
I would say it's better than like Beals and stuff. Yeah.
No, I disagree with that. I do not think it's better than Beals.
Okay, so the thing about Gora is that like
you live with Harry.
Yeah.
You've got to apply the Emily Tricks bubble of like you're looking at like the peak of Gora and you've got to play someone else at Fanboy that's on Gora and then go, huh? Gora's not real. We just keep playing the guy that is like.
I will give Marcia this though. It's that like a lot of what makes the other Gora players kind of strange is that the consensus has yet to be reached on like purple base versus black base. Like to put the door cards. It's like a comp. It isn't just like nobody has settled on like the build because
we have no events.
There's no event to engage with, and well, there are events in other regions. I'm not going to just knock everybody. I'm sure somebody will probably come up with something. But why would you like just hang in there 5 weeks and you've got a potentially top 3 deck in the format? Just give it a little longer.
I will say that if you want to force Gora, you have some tools, not a lot. You have some tools to make some of your targeted matchups suck a bit less. Like the fact that you have start of main phase combat plus evolving plus popping all on start of main phase. You get to break some walls. Like there are some decks where like you can like slowly chip away at them. You have a very good protection.
Yeah.
The problem is that like your core cards are really good. It's alpha all over again, right? It's like your first wave of support is good. There are people are gonna force it. It will probably get like a cheeky top hero there. But its true power will come in BT17. However, purple base versus black base right now, there are the reasons to play purple base is that it's technically faster, but it doesn't have all the things that make it tick. Like you're still missing a lot of like the main interactions. So playing sort of like the SLC toolbox, you're playing bad Fenrir. Like to put it lightly, you're playing bad Fenrir. Whereas like black Dorugori, you're like, I am kind of like a sticky, control-y, like collision deck. The problem is that you don't kill people fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's the next like main downside is that you don't have the alphamon like, oh, I clear you one turn, you die on the next type beat, But yeah, it can win locals, but it's like a specialist. Like I would not put it like alpha is way worse than Gora. In my opinion.
Yeah, I'll give you. You know what?
I don't even know.
I think there's layers to it.
I've legitimately lost him. Anyway. Leopard.
Okay, let's talk Leopard X.
Okay.
Leopard X is kind of slept on right now because this is a crazy UltimateChaosmon engine. You Leopard Deva, spit out a Deva, evolve into the second color for UltimateChaosmon, begin to torture your opponent.
Okay, so what I will say about Leopard is that it is like a really funny tool. This is like green.
This is another green toolbox. People used to call this the Green Ranger.
This is the green.
With the Togemon plant-based bottom stuff. That is so cool. That's a tight list.
Leopardmon is a shell, right? Like Leopardmon. Another Marvel analogy. Leopardmon is the Strider Doom shell of the game, where like you can make fucking miracles happen. It just like
sometimes they do it to you.
And so the main thing about Leopard is that it's a top end more than like a deck. Like Leopardmon can fit into like a ton of stuff. Plants, Alliance base, you can Leomon, Terriermon. Like Leopard as a top end is efficient enough for you to put it in just about anything. In fact, we saw JP lists that were like, here's my somewhat efficient bottom end, and then
and then just Leopardmon to splash.
It was like leopards and cherubies and zephygas and fucking like
oh yeah, dude. If you don't understand what Leopard X plus Cherubi Ace is just wild.
Yes, man. That's what I was going to say. Now, Leopard gets a buff from Cherubi Ace and also the Lopmon, because you get like the suspend as well. It's a good shell. The people that have been playing Leopard will probably get like a nice buff out of it, but it doesn't hang with the top dogs.
It also doesn't have that player base, I don't think. It never seems to have caught on here in the West the way it did.
Was like it was poorly positioned because Bloom was better, so like a green player was like, why would I play Leopard when I can play Bloom? The Deva build was like fun and it was good. Like I will say that the Deva build had its merits, but then the problem was you're playing worse Devas. It has decent aces for the type of deck that it is, but it's like it's a deck you'll see at locals, but don't over prepare for it.
Speaking of over prepare for something in a format, Merry Christmas?
It's not Merry Christmas tier. So the thing is, Gallantmon is the most I love this deck. You guys have heard me 1,000 times. Gallantmon should probably be at the top of at locals. And I would put it either there or at the bottom of wins locals, but because the format is just entirely polarized around two mechanics of cost reduction and deletion, like Numemons and Demon Lords and their larger at-wide metagame manipulation, a Gallantmon could show up at a locals and completely clean house, or they could hit Bugs, Doragora, and go home and lose. There is no in-between. I think you'll see it. And I think if you know your local scene is like Ukomons and Blue Flares, take your list out and clean them up. But there are other matchups that will give you a bad time. And this is not just when a deck is this specialized at one thing, Gallantmon will have its times. And I could expect to see my genuine opinion is I believe in the I think it's about half dozen EX6 regionals that are going to be taking place. I do think there will be a Gallantmon in top 32. I just don't necessarily think it's going to do it.
And that's the issue, is that we never get top 32 data. I think Gallantmon suffers from the fact that I think there is Gallantmon representation. I genuinely think that there's people that bring it. The problem is that, like you said, it only takes...
You hit a bad bug, and then you hit a machine, and you go home.
Yeah. It's it takes two bad matchups for your run to end. And we saw that sometimes that can be the opposite. Shout out Henny, we met him in person.
You beat Fenners and Numes all day, you can work them out.
And he fucking did it, right? And he clutched it because he had those matchups. And then we saw him try for 5 more attempts. Maybe not 5, but it was at least 3 more attempts I remember hearing about Henny doing at those events. And it was consistently he would be doing really well, and then he would get stonewalled by something that was just unplayable. I don't know what the Mirage matchup is like.
It's not great.
I'm gonna guess it's not great, but locals deck, it is like a coin flippy deck in a way. If your local is good enough for Gallantmon, it's fine.
I think it could go to the tier above, but the thing about Gallantmon is it doesn't lose to the gatekeepers, it loses to Rogue, and you feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rogue,
This is-
So it is nominally better now than it was in 16 because they get even more good taunt stuff that you can.
I will
like,
say
you can
that
put like
this-
you can use Edamon and then you can put the Ludamon under the Edamon and do even more annoying stuff. But it's like it's not.
or
Pick
you
your poison.
abuse the fact that you get to play Edamon, EX5 Edamon as engine. Okay?
Yeah, it is very good.
And you Valk people. Now, is this... But funnily enough, you are probably the weakest Edamon Valk deck because Shaku does it better, Nume does it better.
Yeah, you get Metal Edamon as well. That's the upgrade.
You get it done too. Edamon is fine. I think it's like...
I think it hovers.
It's so deeply unpopular in the West because the control players all have other decks they'd rather be playing.
I would put it like somewhere in the local tier.
I think it's
hovering
probably
around Bagra.
yeah. I think it's better than Bagra.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that.
We are. I don't think we should remind people that we don't think they're like not really sorted in order right now.
I've been
So like
these.
also it's certainly not popularity because I guarantee you see more blue flares and Greymons than you do Bagras.
No, when we put stuff in the tier, I'm sorting that shit. That's me.
Well, that's
Pack-
Andrew. Me
Pack-
and Marcy didn't say that.
Pack filler is ordered.
Oh Jesus! Moving on.
Fight about it in the comments. Preferably one comment at a time.
No, this
no,
can't.
no,
it can't
I'm not-
hang. No, it's
funny
just it's like it. Why doesn't this deck have real taunt
shit.
like in a meaningful interaction?
Well, technically, it can play the.
Yeah, but what's it gonna blast evolve? Those sixes that do nothing?
No, it doesn't need to blast the ball because you make X and then you just make people. You have Slayer, right? But
Yeah,
you also-
Slayer to trigger. Yeah, I get it. It's
but
just
you
not.
also can give yourself the protection now from the level 5.
Which is cool. I
Okay,
guess.
sure, I'll give you that.
But like,
it's so slow.
Remember, we're not talking. We're done. We're done.
What if Examon got Alliance? Is that anything?
Probably, but we're done. We're done. Move
Speaking
on.
of Alliance,
It's unsuspend.
Okay,
Fenrir's pretty good right now.
I think it's like a gatekeeper deck.
Yeah, I agree with Marcio actually. I think Fenrir is the little purple deck that couldn't, but this time for real, guys.
Has been.
This time for real. I think Fenrir.
It's there to
I
end
think
someone's
it's
run
kind of fun.
and then
Huh?
job. It's there to end someone's run and then job. We all know it's gonna happen. It's gonna be another format of like this deck should win, and then you're just gonna see that zero
No.
top 8s.
Okay. I think it's kind of funny that like I don't know if you guys watch. Every time Hoang drops a tier list, it's like it's a moment to celebrate.
Yeah, it's the movie.
It's the movie, right? Like
All the friends are up.
Yeah, you get your friends and you watch the movie and you go, but what about this? And then they're like, but what about that? And then you go, but is Hoang meta manipulating? Anyway, jokes aside, of course. I remember this because he was like, but Fenrir, it's like he put it in like tier like 2 or 3, right? And this is like after it gets like New Soul and Dino V and like, Tyranno is like actually a good card. I have this thing with Tyranno where like people, in my head,
Nice.
I always said that people were playing Tyranno ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But that's just like a me thing. But you also have Alliance, and you have like your DP actually matters for you to contest Magnas.
It's the 16 tier list movie is so funny because he just slates the deck. He gets a couple things wrong, but it straight up did not matter because I don't think a Fenrir topped all format. No. Davis is stop. We're not ready yet, and I have to get on my horse about Davis.
Fenrir. No, Fenrir has like topped a bunch in 16. Like way more.
It was the way those comments read. It's like it's a contender for Bediff, and then he's like, "It's kind of mid," and it was kind of mid.
Yep. No. What? No, Fenrir has converted like decently well.
I didn't even think Fenrir was the best purple deck of the format.
No, Fenrir has done well this format. In BT16, if you look back, like go to Eggman events and look at Fenrir. Fenrir has converted. This is where I was getting at. Was that Hoang was like, no, Fenrir bad. And the comments were like, but Mr. Hoang, what about, new cards? And then the deck actually converted.
I can see 2 events where it showed up. One of them was Raid and Trade this last weekend.
Just go to a BT16 pie chart. Just go to...
That's where he is.
Go to event coverage. And then go Digimon, yep. And then
BT16, and then you're gonna see like 2 events.
So
the Raid and Trade right there.
the Radiant Trade, that one didn't do well, and then Top Cut.
It's not there. It's not there at Eagle's Nest. It's not there at the lower Phoenix one. It's not there at Eagle's Nest. It's not there at PlayTCG.
No, there was.
It's not there at TAC. It's not there. Oh, there is a Pro Play. There's 2 events.
What was the event that you casted?
Yeah,
the Radiant Trade one?
Yeah, it's the Radiant Trade.
It got 2 tops.
Yeah, 2. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
It got 2 events.
So like, but 2 tops towards the end of the format is like.
My brother. That's like Machine got more tops than that.
No, Fenrir. But okay, the whole point is not about how many tops they got. The point is that it did top. Because
sure, you're right.
It was like, somebody was like, no, deck just cannot play through anything. And then people were like, no, it can play. But Fenrir is also like a deck that either loses to itself sometimes or like gets randomly vibe checked or like, but it did top. Anyway.
Finally.
Fenrir is a gatekeeper deck.
Because it wasn't even doing that before. Like, people were like, oh, it should win and stuff. I'm like, and it's me and the haters on our high horse going, it won't even top. Now it's finally topped. It's still never going to win anything.
Probably not.
No.
Not an EX6.
The Fenrir players do not want it enough until...
If we know it won't win something, I don't think we can put it in Gatekeeper. I think it should be where Beelzemon is.
No, it should Gatekeep. Because that's what it does.
But
It ends your run. And then it jobs the next round. It quite literally gatekeeps.
Sure. It's fine. I'll fine. It's fine. There's enough purple piles in this format that I'll give it to them.
But like, if you think of like the OTK decks of the past, like Alphamon did it very safely. Guru was just better than everything else. Like Grandis had the best high roll, and Fenrir has the old OTK aspects. But like, what's like the strongest thing about Fenrir?
It's kind of consistent. Like you can just throw your whole deck away with analog youths, and you can just trash and pop off with Lugar, and that's kind of it. Lugar is a hell of a card.
It can play for board. Sometimes.
The only thing I think is a little bit awkward is like a lot of the black bases that have D-Digivolve now are actively detrimental to Fenrir's game plan because you just stick a Raiji under it and you're not popping it. So you are swinging, you're getting D-Digivolved, and your turn ends.
And Edda Valk still cooks it in the same way.
Yeah, like it, like Floodgate like type shit will cook it, but it's. I think it's a gatekeeper deck. Anyway,
now
Davis is a crazy gatekeeper deck this format. Davis is the best it's actually been yet this format.
Bring it to locals. Do it.
I will. I swear to God, I will bring it to locals.
Next Wednesday, bring it to locals.
I swear to God. It's probably the only thing I have built anyway.
Well, you literally ask for Barbamons.
Yeah, I'm not playing Barbamon. I gotta play Davis. Listen, Davis is crazy right now. Davis does a couple things. In a format where everyone thinks Numimon's still the guy, this absolutely takes Numimon back and beats the crap out of him.
I will give you that.
And you just got 2 more Antilamons. So it's another Deva and Alliance Antilamon, which on its own would probably actually be enough to kind of make Davis relevant. The other thing that you do is you just straight up, like on most cases, have a net neutral or positive interaction with like other gatekeeper decks. Like the Angels, you just don't care. Like nice barrier, dude.
Okay. How are you beating Magna?
I can tell you, you just straight up have like enough like blockers and rush down stuff. Plus you have taunt now. Davis gets to play like 3 to 4 copies of the Ludomon taunt thing because all of their board is level 5 dudes that want to skip.
What do you do to like an awakened Magna?
You have 9 blockers. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and they have. Yeah, but they just bounce.
They're gonna bounce me with Awakening?
No, but they'll bounce you with the Magna. Like you're passing like 7.
Oh, okay, dude. If you're passing and they have the starter deck Magna, they have it. They got you.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Like, that's what I'm. Yeah. You're allowed a bad matchup. Some decks in this top are allowed a Numimon bad matchup for some reason. This deck does not lose to Numimon in any imagination. Probably beats half the other gatekeepers, and I genuinely think can take Magnamon now that you have more.
Okay, moving on. Not to just not to completely dunk on Davis, but like to kind of somewhat dunk on Davis. What the fuck do you do into Imperial?
What are you talking about? What's the problem? Turn player priority doesn't save them. You have enough guys.
No, they'll just get rid of you. They don't give a shit.
They turn your guys sideways, and then what? You just counter timing beat them. They swing at 5. I have Azulongmon.
What if they don't swing at 5?
Why would they not swing at 5? That's their whole game plan.
No, but like if they're playing to win, why would they swing at 5? Okay,
because you taunt their stuff.
Okay, and
we have forced combat now.
And then they partition.
But they don't get to DNA before they get to swing.
Well, you do your one digivolving, which Yeah. Azulong bounces.
Or you could play Zhuchao and pop the 4s.
Afterwards.
Or, there's a couple other pieces as well. I think Damage is super real.
What about Rapidmon?
Rapidmon's not ideal, but I also think Rapidmon's a victim of the format.
Okay.
I think Rapidmon's going to be a lot worse.
What the fuck do you do to Tyrant?
You just have enough guys. You have like Alliance to swing at the big stuff now. Like you can just get bigger than a Tyrant with your NTLMons.
You know that they can just like change the attack to a different guy.
and if you change the attack to a different guy enough times, like not all of them are going to be invincible to the giant Fanglongmon lying around. And also, when does Bugs top?
It has topped.
Yeah, sure, but like I don't consistently expect it to do that this format. Do you?
But Bugs is like a super popular local deck.
Yeah, so I hear.
But it is though. I wasn't even playing it last week, and there were like 3 fucking Bug players.
There are too many Bug players.
It is pretty funny, actually. I'll give them that. I think people just don't like plants, and they were just waiting for green to have another deck.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild.
Yeah, Tyrant from the start has been the locals. Like the locals.
Yeah, that kind of was its reputation. Yeah, Davis is real though. I mean, like the Tyrant Davis matchup is funny because you can just force combat on some of their other stuff and then just kind of smoke them. And you really genuinely like the order of some of the things is really stupid. Where it's like because they'll have to like if they swing at a Deva, you can just kill your own guy to kill a Tyrant before it's sideways. Like there's a lot of stuff you can
next
do.
Deck.
So
too much fucking time on.
The next deck was Gabumon, which I put in Merry Christmas, but
Gabumon's actually probably worth a little bit more discussion.
Yeah.
I think Gabumon might still be PAX filler. It's certainly better than freaking Angoromon.
It's fine. Like Togemugemon is funny in that deck because like you technically get a good Magna matchup, and your Nume matchup wasn't terrible before.
It can be at the top of pack filler because
it's fine.
It topped in 60.
If Prim watches the video, like Prim is like the equivalent of like the Harry. Like Prim will make the deck look better than it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
But like the average Gabumon player just is not doing it.
All right. Rapidex.
This deck is at locals as hell.
No, I think the deck can win locals. I know some people that have pushed the deck, but it's weird because Terriermon players don't believe in their own deck.
I'll give him the wins locals. I believe in the deck. I just think it's not consistent enough to deal with the new threats of consistency in the format.
I think the deck is good. Terriermon players just some of them just don't believe in the deck. Because like some of them like looked at historically what happened with Beals, where it was like I got my advanced deck set and then I got my main set support and I was automatically tier 0. A lot of them were like, guys, why are we not like the best deck? And it's like, well, sometimes it's not like that, bro. Sometimes there's just a bigger fish or whatever. But it's a good deck. Like I think it beats most, if not all of the locals decks. I think
it's another one of those. It's like what are you saying? There's like enough other purple decks that I like wonder about.
Okay, I'm looking at Alpha.
I don't know who's gonna. I don't know who's gonna choose Rapidmon.
Alpha's an eyesore. Alpha's an eyesore. Fucking move it down, dude. It's actually.
Yeah, then move Doragora down.
No. Alpha needs to go to like at locals. No, Alpha can't win locals. That deck is so cheeks. No, please get rid of it. I
don't agree. I think Doragoromon and Alphamon are about as good as each other.
I've been staring at it for the whole video, and it's actually nice though. You may continue your point. Sorry, I just couldn't.
I don't think the green players are gonna pick Rapidmon.
But it's like it can play like Magna X. You have like Awakening or Sparkle is really good.
Yeah, but the yellow vaccine players are already playing yellow vaccine. They don't need to rep Rapidmon.
But it
more
does
Rapidmons will top with a Patamon than a Terriermon, and that's.
I just don't think the Terriermon's players don't believe in it. I think the deck is fine.
And it's because they're going to play a different green deck. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way the meta's going to shake out.
I think it's like at least 1.5. I think it's like a 1.5 deck, and it is like the ultimate gatekeeper deck. Like
that's insane that you think it's better than Beelzemon. That's insane.
It is
psychotic, even. I just can't believe you right now.
Rapidmon. Have you read Rapidmon?
It died 2 turns ago. It died 2 turns ago. They digivolved the Rapidmon that you normally get Blast Evolves.
No, you digivolve me like what by 2?
Yeah, and then it's a level 3 and you get Blast Evolve.
You don't. No, because what if I'm just a level 6?
Then
Yes.
you go back to level 3, bro. You go 3, 4, 6.
No, what if you're just assuming that it's the most like linear shit. What if I go 5, 6, 6? Then what? I'm back to a 5.
They have never gone 5, 6. I've never seen in tournament footage of Rapidmon going 5, 6.
I do it all the time.
Sure you do, but it has not happened on camera.
Trix does 566.
5,
Yeah.
6, 6 is super common.
Sure, and they find the line really consistently, and Beelzemon definitely doesn't outpace
Bro,
them.
you cycle so much now.
Sure, because you're playing a bunch of like zero cost Evo for the rookie is good too. I get that. I just don't think it outpaces Beelzemon.
We're talking as if Beelzemon is going to win an event, which it isn't.
I think it could seriously, I think it could top.
No. It's a good deck and it got a big buff, but it's not that
Crazy.
It's a good card, but this is why we are the triangle of the podcast,
Where is...
Yeah, I have the spreadsheet and numbers, and Marcy has vibes, and I saw it at locals, dude.
No, okay, but it's like if we want to play Strawman Digimon and just make random armor, it's like
I'm not. This is just based on topping results from Japan. It just did not convert.
But that's Japan. Like, am I Japanese?
No, bro. But if they're gonna play bugs over there, and the Western players like bugs over here, no one's gonna play Terriermon. It's such a shame.
You look at Japan for glary deck lists and to sort of get an idea of what people are playing. That's all you should take away from Japan. And maybe the every 3 weeks Masao guide where he gives you the Bible on how to play this new sickness. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Give me the give me your note account.
I do think Terriermon will be more popular here than it was in the East, but I do not think it will do enough because I just don't think the green players will take it, and the yellow vaccine players have already showed us that they will take it and play it with Patamon.
Give me your note account. I want to read the Master guide.
I'll just send some stuff later.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Goldramon.
It's a pack filler deck. It's a pack filler deck. This is 4 Great Angels, right? Sorry, 4 Great Dragons?
Okay.
I like Goldramon, good stuff.
Goldramon, good stuff.
The deck is
I can't, Andrew. He's going to try and tell you this isn't pack filler. He's a little tierlist terrorist.
No, okay. It's an at-locals deck. Like, Terry, who, Terry has his deck building requirements, for example, but it is a lot better than people actually give it credit for. The thing is that the best way to build the deck is not very, it's very unorthodox in a way, but it has really powerful cards. It's just, nobody's fucking playing it. But I wouldn't say it's pack filler, I would say it's at locals. It beats some decks. It generally has, some really good matchups. But, it's you can put it at the bottom of at locals, that's fine. I just don't think the deck is as bad as, it's just, there's no reason for you to play the deck. If you didn't pick up 4 Great Dragons 7 sets ago or 8 sets ago, and you didn't play it then, you're not going to play it now. But it's a powerful deck. Is it the best deck? No. Is it a good deck? It's fine. It's better than most things, but,
All right. GraceNova.
It lost its niche a little bit. It was a lot easier to kind of just counter the top 2 or 3 decks of a format in 16, but the new introductions in EX6 are not as kind to GraceNovamon. I think it's at locals.
Yeah.
I think it's high. I think I would put it around the Gallantmon, Alphamon bubble right there. I still think it's a great at locals deck, but I think there are a number of matchups that kind of hamstring it, and they get better in this format.
That's
I would be willing to bump it up. I think it's definitely better than some of the stuff that we have here out locals. It definitely is better. I would much.
I think there's enough Digivolve in the format that kind of kicks your ass.
Yeah,
Black got good again.
But you also have to account for the fact that while there is the Digivolve in the format, realistically, how many people are actually playing the Digivolve strategies? And your good matchups.
Diaboromon, who I anticipate to be the Andes are going to come out to play.
Sure, Diaboromon sucks, but it's your deck hasn't truly Diana is it Diana?
Yeah,
Diana is the Sorai effect. Yeah.
Yeah, Diana's still really good into Diaboro, for example.
Yeah, you can stop the tokens. It's really sweet. But you just lose your board, and they can clear your guy more than you can stop their board.
And GraceNova gets to you have a decent amount of room for techs, your game plan.
Yeah, I think the thing that we learned from looking at format results going forward is from EX6 onwards, the strongest permutations. I hate that people call it GraceNovamon. It's frustrating enough that they're using this as the picture for it. They should just use the red tamer to tell people what deck this is. This deck gets better because it is a good red and blue toolbox. And going forward from EX6 onwards, it showed that with its results. GraceNovamon Turbo was great because it beat Magnamon. but that is no longer the one thing to build around anymore, and the deck is consequentially a little worse.
I think the deck is it's like
I'm willing to give Marcio a wins locals. I just think people are going to go from like it was like a deck that they put in the top like 10 on the last BT16 tier list from Hong Zero, and I think it's a lot worse than that in EX6.
I hate to constantly use this example about like the kind of people that are playing the deck, but like the people that dedicated themselves to GraceNova saw results with the deck, and the people that kind of were tourists with the deck, like they
never talked with
it. Like they open enough products to play it, or like they tested it online, and it's like it's a deck that is not it's not a pick up and play deck. Like the deck takes some turns, but you have to sort of like not gamble because the deck is a lot more consistent now.
Yeah, you got to get your reps in though. You have to know what to dig for and when to commit.
And a lot of the time, it's like very, 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 very small decisions that will win you the game, and they're not very impactful. And that's kind of what separates like the good players from the bad players. Also, like I think Tom is a great example of that. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I think like Andrew also plays off of GraceNova's like Light Fang Nightclaw. Its strength, which is like the sort of like weird text that it gets to play. Like, because you have a decent amount of room.
Rowdy Rocker.
Yeah, like, ironically, like Rowdy Rocker, Zudo, things like that. Like, that's something that the deck gets to make great use of. I don't know who came up with the Mirage.
Yeah, that's a me. But
yeah,
like,
I'm
that's
actually
also
unironically on a boring list for 16. I haven't been bothered to tag.
The list I talked Mr. Champ with is like tech to shit. It's like just blue level 4s plus Zudo ones.
Yeah.
Like, it's just what the deck is.
It's a deck that wins off of small margins. Because that's just how the deck works, but I think it's better than it's a lot more real than like some of these decks. It's exactly the kind of deck that's like, this is a good deck. Is it the best deck? No. And people are always like, oh, but why my deck no good? Everything else so broken. My deck bad. And it's like, no, decks are allowed to be sort of like on a scale of 1 to 10. Decks are allowed to be like a strong 8 or a light 7.
Yeah. This is I can do that. This is a strong 7 deck.
Yeah, this is like a strong 7 deck. Good.
I just don't think we can get around the fact that it went from an okay 8 to a strong 7. Like, it is a little worse in EX6 going forward. The ways you can build it are just a little less consistent than it was in BT16. I don't think it's bad. I think it's probably a contender for the best red deck in the format. Birds is coming, so we'll talk about Birds later. But I think this is pretty close to the best red deck in the format. So it's kind of interesting. We'll see.
Anyway, we still have a lot of decks to go through.
Yes, we do.
Grandis.
Oh, Grandis. What the hell?
Okay, we can go rapid fire. Grandis.
Yeah, Grandis is kind of pack filler.
Grey Knightsmon sucks.
That's the worst card ever. Put it in coat check.
Yeah,
coat check, yeah. Virus Imperial is
Virus Imperial is at locals.
At locals, yeah. We don't need to
Imperial is a gatekeeper. Well, actually, Imperial will top. What am I talking about? It will top. What am I saying?
I think so when we talk about will top in like tier 1 here, we're using tier 1. This is a very wide tier 1 for this tier list because realistically Imperial is the epitome of a 1.5 deck. Like to be fair, it did win an event and it was
it is pretty consistently topping. It just finally won something.
Yeah, but it's also because it has like it's really like well populated, like a lot of people.
Yeah, this is the opposite of what I was saying about Rapidmon. The blue players are sick of Mirage and they're dying to play Imperial.
And also, if you look at Imperial, the way you go about like building Imperial is like really natural. You start off with your starter decks, then you got like
people have built their collections over time.
Yeah, like it's a very natural deck to build. Like
it still doesn't even have secrets, right? Like it's still like SRs and below.
Yeah, it's like everything's an SR. Like the big money in Imperial is like the people that want to put alts in the deck.
Yeah.
Jesmon,
Jesmon probably should go and wins locals.
It wins locals, apparently. Fuck my life. BT10. Okay, that is crazy, by the way. What the hell happened? That was
the BT10 ass list that tops. That
was a BT10 list.
I love EU Digimon, guys. It's not actual pack filler terrible garbage, but I don't think you could ever say it's better than Gabumon.
It's like
put it with Dog Loop.
It's like with Dog Loop.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like,
It's worse.
okay,
It's worse than Machine. It is worse than Machine.
no,
It is.
okay,
It is worse than Machine.
no. I have been testing a version of the deck, and it's actually like really good, but it is a very unconventional version of the deck. It plays like Sheepmon and Shakumon, and okay, are we talking about Justy or?
What the
Yeah.
heck? Yeah, what the hell are you putting? Yeah, I
Okay,
know.
so Tyrant is
Yep, right there. You got it. Yay!
no,
You got
Tyrant
it.
is better than I think Tyrant is better than Luga, and it's better than.
Oh well, I thought only Andrew was sorting the tiers.
No, I mean I
Okay.
agree on some of them. I'm just sorting them when nobody has a strong opinion as to where they go.
I think.
Wait, where did the bug just go? Oh, it's alright. You put it next to Luga. I also think it's better than Angels.
I think it's the ultimate gatekeeper deck.
Yeah, I think it's about like.
It's better than the Dark Masters deck. Can't touch this.
Well, yeah, that's a matchup problem. But like Dark Masters gatekeep some things to hell. It's unbelievable.
Sure. I think Tyrant is the ultimate gatekeeper deck. It has seen success, which surprised me because I thought
Plenty
that
of success.
it seemed like a good amount of success. Now, we're dead.
Ooh.
Oh, there we go, Andrew. We're dead.
We're back. Okay, so
The bug guys
Tyrant,
didn't want us to leak the sauce.
I have tested Tyrant extensively, and it's painful to play the deck because your damage is slow, your control aspects are fine, you have decent matchups into top tier, but it's a struggle, bro. It's just like, and the fact that we're not even getting scrambles or Shiva Ace,
Yeah, without Shiva Ace, I feel like it takes a huge hit.
this is like, okay, enjoy Tyrant for another format. In BT17, it's like, your damage is not there, you get piercing sometimes.
In 17,
The
it
promo's
goes
really
down to
good.
Merry Christmas.
The speed is there, like I'll give it that, but sometimes you can get
You don't think that because so one of the things that's weird about bugs right now is that we're getting the Exermon earlier than they got in Japan. The Pulsemon level 4 bug card. It's when this Digimon becomes suspended, suspend one opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon. It's an additional free bug suspend. It has seen it presently in EX7 and BT17 in Japan. It does see a little bit of experimentation in bug stacks. Do you think it because it's like a toolbox ass card?
no.
Yeah, it's not quite a Pomu because it has to be in the stack to pop off. But when you digivolve the bugs that you spit out into this thing, you can start stunning Tamers, which is kind of unique.
It's exactly Tyrant, and Tyrant is suspending it to bot deck something, and Tyrant is already swinging into something that is suspended. So the additional suspend that you get doesn't actually accomplish anything because it's not even a lock. If it was like suspend and then it doesn't unsuspend during the next unsuspend phase, then sure, I would give the.
It is a doesn't unsuspend. It's one of their Digimon or Tamers can't unsuspend until the end of their turn.
Okay, but then it's like the security gimmick, right?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So it's like awkward for Tyrant. Which I think it's kind of hilarious that like I've been pushing Tyrant to limits that no human should, and I don't believe in the deck sometimes. But I play it because I fucking love bugs.
Isn't it crazy what a good Numemon Ukomon matchup will do to you?
Yeah, it's just like, oh,
It's like if you just don't roll over to the slugs, you can really hang at the top table.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play this deck at locals, and then I get paired into like Nume, and I'm like, but you know, I like waiting more than not winning, so winning is really fun, guys.
I agree with Marcia. This is a great pick for the best gatekeeper. I think it is among good company up where it is, and we'll probably talk about maybe we order just the top couple tiers at the end. But
Is
like
Leo in Merry Christmas?
Leo is so much better in EX6 than it was in 16. The amount of solid, like singularly focused deletion removal is so tight for this deck. You can just swing heavy Leomon like a bozo again. It's nuts.
It's probably fine. Like,
I think at locals is where it's gonna go, but I think it should be hanging near Bloomlord, not near Dark Knightmon.
Leo is I would put it like closer to the top, yeah, like near Bloom. Leo is a deck that's like the opposite of like Tyrant, where like I don't believe in it, and every time I play it surprises me.
So good, man.
And then like I
I've
start
been a day
winning with
one Leomon stan. That deck is so tight.
It's a fundies deck, and like I start winning it with it, and I'm like, what is happening? Do you guys
to not be a hypocrite here? The same problem Rapidmon has will be the problem Leomon has. No one's gonna play it. Yeah. It's good. It will see no pilot representation. A top player needs to believe in it. I just don't think they would choose it over bugs.
It has some issues, like the deck, like into things that are not exactly deletion. It kind of falls short.
But it is a tight UltimateChaosmon deck.
It is.
You just like
you win before it anyway.
I guess so.
And like, Heavy Leo is really good. Bancho Leo is.
Bancho Leo is crazy. Maybe just play it in another deck. That's another thing you could do.
Bancho, I've been known to stand Bancho Leo. That card is individually very, very good. You also get to like maybe play Cherubi if you want because of like Fortitude, which is like not terrible. It does a lot of good things, but yeah, Levia, I would probably put it at like.
Levia is so weird because like it really hit a threshold where it's like you have to really justify why you're playing a pure Leviamon build over some of these other purple decks. And again, like I think the pilots are going to choose a different.
I would put it like somewhere towards like the bottom of like wins locals. Like we've seen some people do well with it. Like it has a decent Nume matchup. It has a decent
by the end of
matchup.
EX6 when like. I think all the Levia players that aren't like already on like Levia
if they're sick of Psychmon messing them up, they'll go back to Levy.
Yeah, like they'll be on Beelzemon to start, and then after they get tired of Beelzemon, or they haven't been converting as well.
Play some Demon Lords for a little while.
Yeah, so, I mean it should win locals. Like
it's fine. Levy also has like a very like ignorant playstyle of like, oh, if you're not giving me anything, I'm going to dome you for 3 checks, and then we will play the game.
Lock in here, boys, because this is the YouTube clip. We know Lilithmon just got a really great placement. We're not stupid. We're all online. It's not ready yet.
Not ready yet.
I don't care how much money you Coomers just spent on your goddamn altar. Put it away. It's not there yet. Stop it, you animals.
Digimon Coomers are so funny to me. Because like,
you see that as of time of recording, they had to put a statement in the official Discord to just take it easy.
Yeah,
because it got a little too bad in there.
It's so funny to me because there's like 2 camps of like Lilithmon like enjoyers. One of them is just like the people that like truly you need to like.
Yeah, the Lilith loop guys that just never got over the MDF ban.
No. I'm talking about like the people that are attracted to like Lilithmon, right? It's like some of them are like, you need to get a reality check. Like you are, why are you moving mad towards a piece of cardboard? It's actually foul, and you're wilding, and you need to stop.
Yeah.
You're probably a grown man. You're probably not a teenager because teenagers were not around, like current teenagers were not around for Digimon. So they sure as shit did not grow up like watching Cross Wars. So you are a grown man and you're like, your testicles are shriveling afterwards because of Lilithmon. And that needs to stop, okay? You're wilding.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that are like, oh yeah, but she has baggy eyes. And like, I kind of get those people. I kind of get the baggy eyes people. But that's more, it's like funny lady with baggy eyes. Oh,
I'm fine. I just needed a minute. Just need to really recover. Hang on. Oh, the camera's mad.
Yeah, your camera's gone.
Oh, the funny joke wasn't funny enough. It's fine. Listen, just keep going. My camera will turn back on in a second.
Cool. MaloMyotismon is pack filler.
Whoa! We're using Malo as the mummy shell.
Fine. It's at locals because
Mummy Loop is better than a terrible.
Mummy Loop wins locals. The problem is that most people are too stupid to win with it. Me included. You know what I'm doing with the mummy shell? I found a version that is like, why Ruin mode and make all of these like complex decisions. You know what you can do instead? You take the Beelzemon, right? And you take the Beelzemon and you play that in the mummy shell, and then you just kill someone because you will probably have 30 cards in trash. That's just Beelzemon swing, burn 3, swing for game, okay?
I have an actual mummy question, but I think I have to hang up and join in because I actually killed my camera with Marcio's great porn head joke. One sec.
I'm right though.
Oh, my Discord is straight up dying.
Are we editing this in post? You're definitely not editing this. No, this is going live. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and this tier list is going to be live. You better do a thumbnail for this one at least.
Okay, I have so you ready for the discussion, the only real conversation you can have about Myotis right now?
Go on.
For the first time, because of the same thing that had the Exermon coming to change the format, obviously we're going to have a slightly different format to the way that Japan received EX6, but Myotis X is coming out in English way earlier relative to the way the cards are being played. I genuinely think Myotis X is a house. People have not had enough time to play around with it. I think it will actually make a real Myotis deck a little bit more viable. I still think Mummy Loop is the one that like that the higher skill cap purple loop players will gravitate to.
Yes, if you're a good...
like, yeah. But a Myotis deck can sack you now. Like, it's got a lot of hand holding again.
It's like, if you are there's like a few purple gods that I can think of off the top of my head.
It's at locals, I think.
It's at locals. Like, the Mummy Loop to me is at locals because like the people that are like really, really good at like purple loop type strategies, the people that are like, they think about like the deck in a different axis, and these people are the people that will carry the deck. But the average person, me included, will like, I'm not good enough to play the loop deck because like the types of decks that I play are just, don't play on that axis. I think about other things like
I am not a exceptionally prolific loop player, but I have taken Mill to a couple events now. And I think the thing that Mummy Loop has that is distinct from a lot of these other purple loop decks with their kind of like branching gameplay path is that it is going to lose you in time much more than a deck like Millith would. Millith came with a kind of built-in out of like, well, my resource war gets won automatically. The loop players will just lose in time. And I think that is a challenge. Yeah. And like in a format that has like Yellow Vaccine, Magnamon X, like I think sometimes losing in time is a thing you just can't afford to have.
Just to say last thing, it's also like purple loop suffers from when do I swing, when do I not swing syndrome of like sometimes people will swing recklessly because they'll want to trigger something like the Demi Mara to like pitch one, draw two, and it's like it's the wrong time to swing, or like there's no point of swinging. Just things like that. Mastemon.
Oh my god, this is the one we're gonna get wrong the most. So
it's a gatekeeper deck.
Yeah, Mastemon is a gatekeeper deck with potential to win a regional.
It's like below Tyrant, I think.
But all of our hopium on this is because we believe in the good players. Now the thing is, if you were ever going to choose a set where yellow and purple players are like, what do I play? I don't know what to play. There are so many yellow and purple decks right now that I need someone who's good at these decks to just give Mastemon a go. Just, I swear to God, just go ahead, pay the 399 yen to pay for Misao's note, read his write-up, get started, and like, if you have top the store championship, work out how to actually improve the list going forward. It's not going to do it anymore. EX6 is different here than it was over there. But I swear to God, Mastemon has all of the things there. It is ready. You are not going to pay, what is it? Like, I think the alt arenas are like 80 GBP right now or something like that.
You don't need all that.
But you are going to sit down, if you're at like table 3, round 5, someone at one of these regionals will have $300 of alt arena and you will lose to them.
Mirai.
Oh, sorry, alt Mirai, my bad.
Yeah.
Did I say arena before? I meant alt Mirai.
Okay.
Yeah, alt Mirai is like 80 British pounds right now, and at a regional, someone will lose to alt Mirais. Okay, I believe this sincerely.
Just to elaborate with Master, I think a lot of Master's like core issues have been solved. Like the new Mirai is very good. The fact that in the previous set it got a crazy Salamon and a crazy Gatomon. The deck truly is able to play out of thin air. The deck has the ability to sort of beat other control-ish strategies with like burning security and just like setting to 4. The deck can push damage. The deck has defensive lines. The deck does a lot. It still has a few weaknesses here and there. Like I don't know how good its like floodgate removal is.
It depends on the build, but we can talk about the builds in a second.
Yeah, and like the ceiling is there. It really just comes down to like sharpening that toolbox, like making sure that like the meta won't change that much, so it's just build for like what you think you're going to play against and then add like a couple of things just for like those like more weird niche matchups. And even then, like, you don't need to add too much. You don't have to do too much. I've seen Master Beelzemon play a Uko, and it didn't look horrible.
Yeah,
it actually looks kind of good.
No, that's a like legit build option. There's the thing Misao talked about that I think most people have like a surface level understanding of is that just because you know your next round is Mastemon does not mean you know what their list looks like and how they'll play. Mastemon is like broadly categorized into the yellows and purple builds, and that's a decent 50-50. And then on play builds and when digivolving builds. Yeah. And they are they play on completely different axes from each other. So just because you know what their payoff is does not mean you understand how to interact with their core gameplay. And that is what will separate good Mastemon players, is their ability to build a list that is flexible enough to deal with the other gatekeepers it's going to have to hang with. Because, like, I'm not going to hold you. Mastemon has a bad time with some of these. Yeah, we could be really wrong. I hope we're not. I think Mastemon is sauce to hell. But, like, there are matchups where you'll just kind of get smoked, and a good player will build the right build on the day and take it home.
What's this?
Melga.
That's Melga. No Melga this time. There's a different blue dog I'd put in a high tier.
Just put it like.
I think it's at locals. There's always a Melga guy, right?
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, the deck is fine. Oh god, we still have so many decks. Can we start rapid firing again?
Yeah, I think this is a tier 1.
Okay, yeah, Mirage is like tier 1. It's
yeah, I expect it to win stuff. Demon Lord, okay, it's a gatekeeper. It's like the king of gatekeepers. Marcio's Tyrant Call is a fine one, but I would like to see this considered one of the best gatekeepers.
The format is going to be like,
it's going to centralize the format so much.
It's like the Royal Knights deck for the people that didn't want to play Royal Knights. Mm-hmm. It's technically more affordable.
A tiny bit more affordable. Like, not a lot. Like, you don't need 8 secret rares, but you do need 4 and a bunch of SRs.
Yeah, but like that's still marginally better.
Yeah. The other thing is the purple players have definitely already got their stuff. Like, they have Rivals Barrages, they have Biting Crushes. The purple players have been waiting for this. This is the thing they've wanted.
The deck has like the random alt win con, which is you flip.
Yeah, if you didn't already have Leviamons, those are kind of pricey.
You flip Yggdrasil.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like we will talk about. We're probably going to end up talking about Demon Lords in a different podcast episode or something. But like, yeah, straight up, like sometimes it 1 in 5s you and you lose the game.
Orymon goes next to D-Brigade. How did we spend so much time about like random ass decks and then Demon Lords like
Well, no, it's like everyone already knows what Demon Lords does. If you've read the packaging. The thing is, Demon Lords does 2 main things to a format that aren't just what its deck does. It introduces the necessity for really easy floodgate countering, so it hurts the decks that play on the same kind of axis as it.
It gets it with Porcupa in color, which is
it's got Porcupa in color, which is tight. But like the struggle for Demon Lords is that it really is like limited in its kind of interaction. Like, its Numemon matchup it's all deletion. So you're just giving like Birds versus Demon Lords is hilarious. Birds pop off. So like anything that is that centralized is going to struggle. So like Demon Lords is powerful, but it is it's a hammer. If you need a hammer to solve a problem, you know what you're doing.
It's like it does similar things to what Royal Knights did. But the strong thing about Royal Knights is like it was the Royal Knights and they were in different colors. So you had varied removal. You literally had a form of removal for a different deck. Demon Lords doesn't really have that. You have some of it, but it's a lot worse.
Also, the Ascent of the Demon Lords is not as good as Purge of the Royal Knights. Purge of the Royal Knights is like sometimes there were matchups where Royal Knights would just get kind of taken out. And having the ability to produce a raid Gallamon could solve some matchups.
Yeah.
They just don't have it like that. Like,
they don't.
All turns a guy gets deleted, you delay, spit out another Demon Lord, like you just exacerbated the loop. It doesn't solve your matchup.
Next deck.
Next deck is Birds.
Birds is so tight. Birds is 8 wins locals.
I think Birds is like secretly gatekeeper. Birds has seen a decent amount of tops.
This is my pick for the best red deck, by the way. I said it earlier with Grace.
This is the best red deck.
LA Fang Knight Claw pile. This is the best red deck.
It's a purple deck in disguise.
Yes, sir.
And I think
Nume.
Birds suffers from a horrible Nume matchup. Like, it's not like I've been talking to a lot of like Bird players, like me, Trix, Shouts, Dyer, Omega. Like, there's a bunch of people that I like talk to. UXO, the guy that like got I think it was like 6th with the 99999 build.
Yeah, from the Barcelona event.
Also, I love the Spanish list. Like I've been working on that shell a lot. Bird is literally good players believed in the deck and they pushed the deck, and the deck is really, really good. Even things like you think are like completely unplayable, like Tyrant, you have outs. Like there are ways to navigate the matchup. The deck is super flexible. The deck is like super well positioned. It like has good matchups into like all the other things that are not. Nume just sucks. Like Nume is like horrible, but everything else you're very good. And I think it's one of those where like it's like a capsule in time deck where it's like it only gets to exist in this format, and obviously like some matchups could be better. Like if Nume wasn't a thing, Birds would be a lot better.
Birds
EX6
Birds just gets its stuff pushed in by the things Imperial is gonna start doing too. Like it just gets so rough.
Imperial is fun. Like we have been like lobbing out to Imperial, but
Northern Mode Ace is coming, dude. Like
okay, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Birds have an expiration date. You know, like when you go to the shopping,
your chicken goes bad, dude.
Your chicken goes bad. Eat your chicken quickly, okay? Like, and also it gets hurt by the fact that we don't have scrambles. So like a lot of like the things that the deck would be able to do to sort of like stay relevant, it doesn't get that anymore. Like like not having scrambles like takes out all of the viability that deck would potentially have in like BT17. It'll probably be okay. I don't think it'll be like super trash, but where it could be like, oh, this deck still gets to hang out, it's like now okay, the deck is like significantly worse.
Yeah.
That's basically it. That's
a pack filler. That's a pack filler.
It was sick in BT15 by the way. That deck was sick. I should have played that.
The loop variant is really cool, but it's not there.
Not anymore.
Like, it's not gonna do it. Ragna! Oh my god, can I get on my horse? Put it up.
Andrew,
Higher.
Do your thing. Do your thing, Andrew. Talk to him, King.
He's waited so long, guys.
Yeah,
Talk your shit.
It is probably worse than Angels. The deck is really, really solid, but there is a reason that Ragna is always the worst. Like I've been saying this every time. Ragna is always the worst deck to use Ragna. And that does not change. RagnaLoardmon is the best card in so many decks, and it is not in Ragna. In the same way that ST something Ragna is being abused in all the other funny DNA piles, it's the same thing. We're not the best Arton DNA, and we're not the best Nethen DNA deck. It's still very, very real, makes great use of Digimon Emperor, and you can build very black, you can build red-black, you can try and play for your turn DNA, you can play for their turn DNA, and also you can kind of just play belligerently in their face, because you don't even have to have the Blast Jogres pieces, but they're going to assume you have it at all times. Also, Promo Zubamon is real. You can use it because of the black egg. You can just bounce that thing back every single turn. So you can stack your deck. You have a 0-cost Izzy every single turn to like filter or stack, and that's just not normal. Deck's super real, but like it does have some like questionable matchups, and you have to really pick an identity. If you play for black protection, you're slow. If you play for red belligerence, then you can kind of burn out. You do need to see your draw pieces super early, and right now only having one good draw piece is kind of bad for us. The Spardamon's fantastic, the delay option's fantastic, but like if you don't open a hand that's rookie 4 plus Sparda, like you're kind of really slow out the gate.
It also suffers from like DNA deck that didn't get like your consistency tools. It's like, how do I say that you're missing the memory boost without saying that you're missing the memory boost?
It would love the Garnet memory boost or whatever it's called. But like also it's like it's getting the wave that Imperial got back in like 12. It's getting it now, and then conceptually benefits more from some of the other generic stuff. But like they also, like, Andrew's talked about this in a million videos. If you're watching this tier list this far in, I'm sure you've seen them. But, like, the other thing with Ragna is that all of its waves of support just kind of don't hang.
How long have we been yapping for? Are we
like
142? Are we doing the podcast tomorrow? This is tomorrow's podcast.
Okay, yeah, we fucked the podcast.
If you've seen this already, you know Andrew's thing on this, but like the deck is like truly at Frankenstein. Like its waves of support do not all really mesh. Like I remember when this deck dropped in Japan and people like were desperate to try and get the foil BT4 RagnaLords because they were good again. It's just like there's a world of like weirdness with these cards. So for it to finally start seeing a distinct identity and success is really exciting, and it stands to get better. But like right now, the tools it has are good metagame relevant tools that keep it in the pop, and like that's what lets it hang.
If you want consistency, you have to give up greed. You have to give up what makes the deck threatening. Like if you want to play full black base or near full black base, you can play with boosts and things. You're playing with a nerf deck. You do have to be greedy and just accept that you're gonna have to high roll people. And I mean, it's not a deck. It's a red deck. It doesn't draw enough to high roll people frequently.
So with that logic, does it not make it more sense to put it in like wins locals and like have it be your like champion of like?
Yeah,
wins
but
locals?
Mythical Arms of Salvation is the craziest delay card in the game right now. It's so nuts.
Yeah, I'm saying all of that, but damn, does it just beat the fuck out of any deck? That it like you can sometimes like turn one open Rookie Spada, next turn is and you pitch off the 6 or a 7, and you go Inheritance, your Spada, and now your Spada swings with jamming, because who's blocking that fucking Spada? It's dying in security, you have a free 6, the game is like, you win from there. And it is so quick at that if you just aggressively mulligan for hands like that, yeah, the deck just smokes like a solid amount of the meta. But boy, do I wish we had Garnet. It's a real gatekeeper deck. Like, it just straight up beats the shit out of so many things.
It's not super tamer reliant either.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Like Digimon Emperor's generic draw that also beats up Ukomon. It's a deck that does what it needs to do nearly every single time, but you're just reliant on seeing like 3 to 4 pieces.
It is kind of expensive to get those promos though, huh?
Yeah, but you also don't need the promo. If you lean more black base, you don't need the promo. Best versions of the deck, I think, use the promo.
Okay, so do you think that will debilitate its tournament results?
I don't think anyone's playing it. I'm gonna be real with you. I think like nobody is going to.
Which helps. I think that's gonna gatekeep someone who doesn't know what these cards do.
I will give you that one too. I think it will be unpopular, but I also think that Dark Knightmon Omnimon control will be unpopular, and it doesn't change that it's a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I also think this will be more popular than Dark Knightmon Omnimon control because you don't need a million. Sorry, I said Dark Knightmon. Guys, we've been recording a while. It's better than DM Omni control because you don't need 16 or whatever secret rares.
What I will say.
I'm not trying to be like, actually, no, it's more like for clarity because people will be like, what is he talking about? It's just to make sure that like, I know what Tom is saying and I want to make sure that like people get what he's saying.
One of the other things I want to point out is this deck, because it doesn't play very well with the old stuff, basically allows you to build this deck now, which makes it more accessible than before. Like if you just give up on like the starter deck Ragnars or even BT3 for the woke ones, and you're just playing like Blast Jogress like pile, totally works. And again, you're not super reliant on tamers. And there was another point that I had that as
for a set that I didn't think was going to be like this impactful, it really kind of like expanded on BT16. I think it just kind of like added more decks to like the sort of like top tiers of BT16. Like the existing 16 decks didn't get any worse. It's just now there's like more like decks in the same tier, as opposed to like, oh, there's like, 10 decks that you're allowed to play and then like nothing else. Like now it feels like, oh, the metagame can definitely look a bit wider, which is good for the people that like.
Do you remember the point? The point is that the new, since we're canceling the podcast, we're getting new prize support. Promo Zubamon is in that prize support as an alt art, which means the thing that would be like the gatekeeping bit, they're like, oh, I didn't build Ragnar, I want to build Ragnar because I pulled it in EX6. Oh, I need the promo. Cool. Show up to one tournament and pull it. The deck is now incredibly accessible. By your Digimon Emperors, you can build the deck as a Blast DNA taunt pile and be fine without having to buy other products, which I think is super helpful for more people playing it. But like the best versions of the deck will be from people that have been playing this garbage.
I think it's interesting because Marcio was like, the format is not like EX6 is sort of akin to EX4, where it's like the decks that were good have stayed good. There's just new guys that hang. I think on paper, when you if we imagine a perfect opening hand scenario for every deck that we've listed as gatekeeper or higher, I really still think that the top 3 we've picked right now, plus new Mimon that's coming, the only EX6 deck I think is a true blue, this could be a Bediff, is a perfectly, it draws a beautiful on the day, everything goes right Mastemon. I think EX6 is just a good enough to fill out a metagame expansion, and it's interesting that they've designed it that way. Red Hybrid.
Where?
That is booty.
It's not good, but I gotta be real with you boys. The UK loves this deck, and it will be in your locals.
Okay, so let me, as a Red Hybrid, avid player, I think I've seen a decent amount of success with Red Hybrid. I've won a Star Championship with it. I've bubbled with it. I've placed, I've won a 3v3 with it, and I've gotten top 4 at a 3v3 with it. This is not the format to play Red Hybrid. You just get walled by too many things, and all you have to do is wait until BT17. Then you get really good support again. The deck, your Numi matchup is Fringe, your Imperial matchup is whatever, your Magna matchup is kind of awful because you just can't play. Like, Red Hybrid, in terms of like a modern deck that got to sort of like exist for as long as it did, it's been great. Like, we've had a good run, guys. It was sort of like Bloomlord. It was sick, and you shelve it and it'll come back. So
it does still do well against Demon Lords the same way it did well against Royal Knights, though. Even down to the fact that it ignored option cards.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so like if that's something you give a shit about, like bring your Red Hybrid for that.
Where is
Rosemont X is
Moody.
It's kind of pack filler right now. It just
shout out to France. They got it the one time, but whatever.
True. This is a Merry Christmas deck. So it's not real. At least still 17.
17. Even then, in 17, it got heavily nerfed by the fact that we won't be getting LM cards. So no scrambles, no made mode ace. The deck, it'll be fine, but it's nowhere near as good as it's going to be. Seraphi is
okay. I think this is supposed to be
Secon.
Yeah, that's sort of the fill-in for Secon here.
Okay, fine.
There is Jet Sophie on her own.
That's yellow hybrid though.
Okay.
I think this is supposed to fill in for Secon. I believe Secon is marginally better now than it was in EX6, but not much.
It's like
pardon me, than BT16.
It has seen some success. It probably wins locals because people are bad at playing into it. But birds, dude. If I play Second on birds, I do loops. I have the most fun time I'll ever have with birds. Partition decks don't give a shit. Nice chaos deck, you're gonna get looped even more.
Yeah, isn't it just like inherently always keeper?
It is sort of like
no. Some there are formats where it just gets run over. Like I just truly don't think it has it.
Magna X doesn't give a shit. Nume is like can struggle into it sometimes. Imperial doesn't give a shit. Even
I don't think Demon Lord straight up burns 7 security, bro. I don't think they can hang.
Yeah, you're right. We'll put it above Diaboromon.
If they want.
We'll put it above Diaboromon at wins locals because the 3 decks we put above it are like bred in a lab to kill it.
Sure, exactly.
And Gatekeeper and above.
Yeah, I fuck with that. Good call.
Secon wins when people are bad at playing into it, but it never wins an event. It's like, okay, it got to win worlds, whatever, but that's not what I mean. Shakamon. Okay, so Shakamon's really funny, but it's like a locals deck.
It is at locals as hell. Put it next to Gallantmon. I'm going to ruin a week of Fanboy 3 with this deck, dude. I'm so excited.
It's a cool deck.
You motherfuckers are getting 14 checks.
It's a cool deck.
No, actually, that second one's way better than Shakamon. Really way better than Shakamon.
Yeah, Shako is better than Shaka.
Yeah, I think it could win locals straight up.
Yeah, it's like it's.
You know what's really funny about Sheepmon in the Demon Lords meta is it's got Armour Purge for the deletion, and when they desperately beg to God to produce a way to swing with a Gudamon, you go nope. Go to sleep. You're done. GG's.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
It's also like
give it barrier. What's the fun?
Shakumon being unaffected and having the ability, because you're black yellow, you get some of the best like aces. You can play Vike, Valk, Mega Gargo.
Yeah.
You can play Seraphi, Alfani. Like you can play so many different like aces.
Hell, you can play it with there are permutations of this that use this as a piece in Mastemon stuff too. There's just lots of things you can try with these cards.
You have the best defensive partition target.
Yeah, and also Izzy TK is sorry, not Izzy TK. TK Cody is in the format, and it's like if you thought it was obnoxious right now, wait till Morty and X pick it up. But this deck is still incredible at abusing it.
Also, you are a very, very good Edmon Valk deck.
Yeah.
You're an incredibly good Edmon Valk deck. Also, you are an incredible Magna X deck. Like this is probably the second best Magna X deck. Actually, no, it is the
Yellow Vaccine. I would say is the second.
Yeah. Yellow Vaccine, Armour, and then Shakamon, because you play not only Sheep but Submari. Submari fights for board. You have control. You have the ability to win games, like not like decking people out. Like you have the ability to like push damage.
Yeah.
Zubagon Magna X. you have like all of the best like black defensive tools, not all of, but you have a good amount of yellows like removal, and you get to push damage. It's a good deck. It's a very good deck. I like Shakamon.
All right.
Shine,
I think.
locals.
Yeah, Shine is kind of mid of at locals. It just doesn't really have it right now.
It's fine. It's a fine
It
deck.
did see a tiny bit of success, but not enough on a scale that I think it gets better.
17.
Yeah, 17 it gets way better. All right, put it in tier 1. That's just, I guess they've used Monze X. That's the Shin Monzemon, but like there is no other Numemon here.
Okay, so this is Nume.
This is Nume. It's the best deck in the format.
It will continue.
Like the BT16 Ukomon has like record-breaking levels of conversion.
Pulsemon is fun.
Yeah, it's not there yet. Give it another. It needs a couple more sets. Although the Extramon will help Pulsemon more than people think it will. Big Uko is actually better than pack filler. It is better than pack filler.
Really?
It's Rookie Rush.
Yes, it is. It is probably the strongest red Rookie Rush you can get.
Okay.
It's Rookie Rush.
Okay, fair enough.
It's fine.
All
Force. Okay,
All Force actually kind of sauced this format. I think All Force is a.
But it's one guy.
But like All Force is like when Evade gets to be good again. All Force is the deck you think about, and Evade gets to be good right now.
Yeah.
I think you should put All Force in a middle of wins locals heavily.
Yeah.
Like I think it should be hanging with Diaboromon.
Okay, but do remember that the reason why we are evaluating All Force this way is because of exactly Kiki.
Oh my god.
Kiki,
yeah, sure.
Rena's strongest soldier is going to be on him eventually.
Sorry. If we aren't doing the podcast, I want to actually scream about how bad the announcements for the LM cards has been. Because now that we know that there are no more reprints and the LM2 is event pack crap, the fact that they're not reprinting Rena is insane. This deck is so expensive. You can't play it.
Valk is basically Sylphie, like Sylphie Jogger.
Sylphie is not bad. Sylphie is nominally better now than it was in 16. I would put it at like high at locals.
It's like one of the higher at locals. Like definitely better than like the D-Brigade stuff, I think.
Better than Shakamon. I think you could probably put it next to like. And I think it literally could be the best at locals deck.
It's like it is sort of like. How do I describe this? It's like Imperial except without all the good parts of it, right? Like you have
it just has a floodgate.
It's like you have but like you could also add a Valk people. That is an option. You have Recursion, you have
it's the craziest Revelation deck too.
Revelation is good. Lingering DP minus, it can clear boards. It's a little bit slow on the damage. Not slow, because like if you do want to push damage, like a lot of your damage is coming from like
it creates off turns,
Beastly,
which is important.
Beastly Storm plus like Valk is like 3 checks. But then it kind of struggles sometimes to get its clean hit in unless you like play Blitz Omni, which more power to you.
Yeah.
It has variants, like you can play the Hawkmon Sora bird package with like BU as well. You could play like the Salamon.
Yeah, the Kari Salamon stuff. Like
it's a good deck, but I think
still maintains a great Magnamon matchup too.
Yes, exactly. But it very much like it's like worse than Birds in the sense of like it's a deck that got to exist in BT8 and it was sick. Past BT16 EX6, I don't see this deck like really doing anything else.
If people don't know, it has fringe. This deck and Ancient Greymon do some really weird things together in BT17. It has some semi-consistent placements where the red source in your DNA is the promo Agunimon. It's not like, if you want to hold on to your cards, or if people use these tier list videos to work out what to get, it's not crazy to get Sylphimon stuff. But
it'll be fine.
Know what you're getting into.
It'll be fine. Greymon goes next to Black.
War Greymon OTK is it's weird. Neither of them have legs right now.
No, this is bad. Shenpeng!
Shenpeng! Hell yeah! This is the best fish has ever been.
Okay, so I've spent the last 2 days just doing my
players
homework.
aren't gonna play it though.
Huh?
And the blue player, we've had this conversation with a few colors now. The blue players won't play this.
No.
So this is a very, very, very specialist deck. This deck it can do so much. Okay.
This is the funniest level 6 they've ever printed. It's so cool.
Very funny. It can do a lot. The deck has the ability to do tons of different diverse lines. It has removal, it plays from source, it like drowns things, source strip. Its damage is not too bad. It has the ability, it has incentive, it has the ability
has OTK lines lying around.
Yes,
like,
it
there's
has
some wild stuff.
What I would
Specific OTK.
say is, if Birds is your JRPG, you've come through, you're like, that was a difficult but fun run. Shangpeng and Fish is New Game Plus.
Yeah,
where you have to relearn everything
you
from
have some
scratch.
side quests. If you're on a mission to collect all 7 DigimonTCG Dragon Balls, you have to go get a regional top with with Fish at some point. Now's your chance. Go do it.
Okay, so Shangpeng, I think, is going to be one of my other decks for this format, just because I want to play something fun. The deck is let down by the fact that you do in fact need this Hedramon promo. That's just
it's really good.
Yeah, and that is not randomly getting reprinted in the next set of support like the other box topper is.
So you do need that card, but it's a really neat deck. Like I really like the deck. I think it has a ton of potential. It's super fun and it's very rewarding. But it is, in terms of the ceiling, it's the kind of deck that you are going to load the wrong thing at the wrong time and you are going to feel it and it's going to suck. But you'll do that 20 more times, and eventually, by the 40th time, you might get it right. Or you'll fuck it up again, like me.
Fish is so sauce. It's just it's also a weird one where
Crossart does it.
Yeah. Crossart's not real right now. If you thought that if Blue Flare getting countered, no. I actually think it is the worst Digicross deck of the format, because if you thought Blue Flare getting their play cost reduction floodgate was annoying, this deck needs to play cost reduce 15, dude. They're just dying.
But they
do have more outs. But I don't think it's a meaningful enough level of interaction with the way that the format is played.
They have
this is a deck that gets better for having Leviemon be worse and scrambles not exist. So when you get to the point where it's people I can take them off the board and then they can't come back, that's really good. But it's fine. It will top in LATAM, I believe.
Again, it's fine. We're wrapping up. We're finally almost
Yellow
done.
Hybrid. Pack Filaire. Do not play this right now.
Okay.
It's really bad right now.
It's fine. The deck is fine.
Well, it's not Marcus Hybrid. Marcus Hybrid would be the correct way to play the deck.
Yes, Marcus Hybrid is viable. You can play Leon as well if you want.
Yeah, the Leon Pulsemon stuff is actually kind of real, because you just endlessly have a Tamer to roll over.
End of turn, pull it out. It's fine. It's a fine deck. We don't need to think too much about it. We spent more time on less.
Yeah. I think this is just a Fanimon, Anjuamon tribal stuff. It's not anything real.
I wouldn't even put it on the list. I wouldn't even.
Put in Coat Check. It's actually a real Coat Check pick here.
Yeah.
Yellow Vaccine. That's a top 5. Yeah, that's a top 5. I think it's next to Newman.
I would put it below. Yeah, Nume or.
Until they choice restrict it,
yeah, it's like a it has better high roll.
Is the blue base Magna better into Demon Lords, or is yellow?
Yeah,
better?
I was.
It is better into Demon Lords.
Vaccine hasn't converted as much though. That's the thing.
I am willing to put blue base above yellow
I think blue base is
EX6
better.
just because of I think the Demon Lords. I think it was also we were looking at JP data several podcasts back that the blue base has started to creep back in front, and it obviously gets way worse once Flamedramon's in the pool.
But that card does a lot.
The blue base is starting to do better because of the new EX6 decks being slightly more hostile to the vaccine.
It's also that you have Stardeck Magna, which just fucks any Mega Zoo deck.
Yeah.
I beat last week.
Well, no, that's why Demon Lords is good, is because it just doesn't care about Stardeck Magna and security, because it does not check security.
No, but you delay them. You delay them by a turn, because you're.
But if it leaves the battle area, you get a source from trash.
Yeah.
Oh,
Demon Lords does not care about Magna at all. That's why it's good.
Oh, I thought it was Omni, where Yggdrasil would suck it up after.
No, let me just check the wording really quick.
So
I don't want to tell a lie.
The gate deletes everything.
Yeah, whenever leave the battle area other than by battle, place 1/7 Great Demon Lords trait from trash as the bottom source, and that's all turns. So if you bounce it, you get a thing.
Theoretically, early Magna, an early check Magna off of a chip body, does just completely throw their game. But like
But
once
they
they
don't
have
have
like
chip.
yeah, when they have like 4 or 5 thingies in there, like okay, cool, it's going back to hand instead of ending up in trash. Like maybe it's throwing off the names that are under the demon gate because it's going back to hand instead of to trash to then be looped later. But it's nothing that it doesn't matter significant.
Yeah, the Demon Lords don't chip you early either. The earliest bodies that start chipping you are when like the Rush Beelzemons are reduced by like 10. Like the nothing they drop early lives a full turn because the gate clears their board every turn.
Okay.
So I think Magnamon is nominally worse against Demon Lords than the vaccine build is.
You think?
But it's more consistent, and it's
Sure. And I also think it also beats the vaccine build, which is a really strong argument.
Yeah, it's seen more tops as well. Like Magna will just convert because
BT8 Magna gets more value because you know you're armor purging every single time. So you are chipping, you're just throwing random shit in and unsuspending and 2-checking them every turn.
Exactly.
I agree with that. Royal Knights. Royal Knights is somehow worse than it's been in a little while because more people are playing Floodgates. I don't even think. I think it might be at local because people are like, I remember Mega Zoo, but it's not good right now.
Can I give a shout out to the Bone Duster?
Yeah, dude.
The Bone Duster.
I think
3 time.
I think Drazzle
He's the
and
fucking
Knights.
go.
He is. Yeah, he really goes in on it. He goes in on it.
He will play Royal Knights no matter what, and it's literally the meme of the guy like, no, I'll be there no matter what. That's the Bone Duster.
People sometimes Bandai print you a forever deck, and if you're that guy, you say thank you.
Dude, it'd be
he's like really good.
It would be so funny if like Evil Bone Duster shows up and he is on 7 Demon Lords.
No, Bone Duster.
Right. Bone Duster versus his rival Dust Boner. Dust Boner is the craziest Ogudomon stand you've ever seen, and he's like, I'm gonna dust bone all over the playmat, and he burns 7.
I'm gonna dust bone and wipes your security.
You got something on your playmat. I'm gonna dust bone it.
He's like, no, guys. I think Royal Knights are not cool and they're cringe. I like the Demon Lord.
Yeah, when I play my Sister Mont Blancs, I want them with demons.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and then our
and then the last thing is like source strip control. Source strip control is not real until Hexabomb comes out.
All right.
All right. Okay, garbage. Okay, we're done.
All right, no, hang on. We said we'd sort the top 2 tiers and then we're done.
Okay, sure. Am I missing something? Give me a second. I want to make sure that I want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
I've checked everything from 16. I don't think we're missing anything. We even accounted for freaking Malforce. Machine on paper. Marcio and Andrew and I are all kind of machine haters because we think it's sort of a fake deck. And I genuinely believe where we have put it. I know someone's in the comments like, where's Machinedramon? You tell me how you're going to play Machinedramon through 4 Secret Angemons doming you. I just don't think it's doable. You're going to lose. It's not going to work.
Okay.
Or Imperial Andy number 7.
Yeah, like it's just, whatever.
This looks, I mean, nothing, Domini, I think, like, Fenrir is better than Domini, just on the principle of, like, we've seen it do more, like, Domini is a very, like, specific deck, and I think it's going to take time for people to, like, understand, like, what they need to do with Domini to win games, because people are going to play under the assumption of, I'm playing Second Light, because I get to ace and evolve and heal, and it's like, well, you're losing the game because it's actually not accomplishing anything.
I think it will do well in Europe because we have a couple of Switch in Europe, and he figured out the Domini Cha-Cha slide like frame 0. So like I think Europe will get like Europe might get its Domini top before it gets a Fenrir top in this format.
I can see it. That'd be funny.
It's fine.
Can I get a request? Actually, we might have Balfi Apocalypse too high and Diaboromon a little too low. I'd like to see them switched.
Respectable.
Then I think then I'm pretty cool with this tier. Otherwise,
yeah, I think Apocalypse. Diabor is like good enough, but
it's just it just does. It's not quite a gatekeeper because it's too binary to gatekeep enough of a wide pool. But like the things that like some decks just get smoked by Diaboromon Ace, dude. There's just nothing you can do.
The main thing about Diaboro is basically like what is your out to realistically like 3 tokens at once, right?
Yeah, and like some decks used Armageddon.
Right, and then it's like, okay, are you cheating things out? Because if you're cheating things out and you play something by effect, well, they're going to get a token and then they get to de-digivolve you. And you know, that's the Digivolve sucks on opponent's turn. Like it's super
Yeah, so bad for you.
It's super bad. It sets your tempo back like so much. Are you using an option? Is that option efficient? They have some protection. The main thing with Diaboro is that like I think it has really wonderful cards. Like it has some really, really good stuff. The problem is that its generics are still a bit clunky. Like you only have one way to play out a Rata. You know, you
Two.
have to run like
They're still on the mummy.
Yeah, that's the other 5, but like it's like
The second best Infamon.
yeah, I guess.
Like you're
they
still on
get
the
the
mummy.
weapon for Monsoon.
Yeah.
It's like it gets up like a Catastrophe Cannon, which improves things like its Tyrant matchup or like its Machine matchup. I suppose like any like Wally stuff, anything that would want to wall. But against like decks like for example, Yellow has a card that for those of you who have not read called Perchine, and Perchine is I think
-3 the board, right?
yeah 4 memory
Yeah.
everything that's -3 and
It's just such a kick in the nuts for Diaboromon.
Blue. Yeah, like Blue has Magna Cannon, I think that's what it's called. Like the Omnimon
Supreme
like optional
Supreme Cannon.
Supreme Cannon, and that just bounces.
Revelation still exists.
Revelation.
Diaboromon straight up has no way to out that one security if they know it's there.
Rapidmon will just go, everything gets
Yeah.
-4.
Yeah.
Same thing with Vaccine.
You still can't play under Ruin mode, even though you can start building the board. You just can't make tokens.
And like your
Edit
game
Valk
plan,
still exists.
your game plan
But sometimes you digivolve your opponent on their turn and you win the game. So like it's not a real gatekeeper.
the ace is very good, by the way.
Yeah, the ace is like, in my personal opinion, the
best
2 reasons to play this deck are I think EX6 Diaboromon is individually the strongest Diaboromon, but Diaboromon ace is like a contender for like a top 5 ace.
Card. Such a good card.
Yeah, it's so strong. Diaboromon is just missing the skeleton to put under its 2 great
It's
sixes.
the BT17 stuff, like the BT17.
Yeah, we know what we're waiting for. We know when the deck starts topping. It's just not there yet. I know the Diaboromon Andes have been waiting for so long.
Maybe we're overvaluing it a little bit because we do practice with Jonathan Lowe. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Don't
it's
forget-
got like Mastey's versatility though, in terms of like you don't know exactly what you're looking at. Like you don't know if you're looking at a memory print to build that then like says, hey, you better answer this or scoop. You don't know if you're just getting rush tokened, or you don't know if you're gonna get hit by Beast Cyclone and die into the fucking moon. Like so, like I think kind of like how Misal said, like just because you know you're playing Diaboromon doesn't mean you know what you're playing into.
yeah, that's very valid.
But like it's not, it's under Mastey for.
All right, we'll happy with the list.
I
think the order is fine for me right now.
I think we should scroll out so someone can take the smallest picture of all time.
Oh my god!
Close that ad.
Guys, KnTElixar tier list so bad, bro. These guys don't know what they're talking about. So bad, bro.
All right.
If you scrolled ahead and didn't watch the video, can we get a Baba Booey in the chat if this is the podcast for the week?
Yeah, if you're watching towards the end of the video, type Baba Booey.
Yeah, and those of
if you skipped, you skipped, you type Baba Booey. If you didn't skip, then you know
already,
what to type.
Yeah, you know what to type. But smile for the way if this ends up on Reddit. Yeah, what's up? But yeah, appreciate this. Yeah, there's no podcast today. If you're seeing this today, there's no podcast today, and you know why? Because it's been 2 hours and 11 minutes.
I've yapped for too long. How did we outdo Hoing, by the way, in terms of like fucking like?
Well,
because there's 3 of us.
There's enough of the 3 of us. The fact that there's 3 people means that somebody will yap, the other person will go and then there's a 3rd person fact checking. And because we're fact checking live, it kind of slows us down.
Yeah,
but
then you
we get too caught up in what cards actually do. The vibes based tier lists take too long.
But it's like we can't just look at like a deck like fucking like.
We look at what we put in pack filler, dude. We threw so many decks away without saying anything. I don't even think we actually gave Mother D Reaper a sentence.
No, I skipped it. I put it there and I just moved on.
We spent more words on what Creepymon represents than the deck.
You argued about D-Brigade for so long that I just put it there to try and shift us along.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.